All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for waiting patiently. But we are ready to get started with tonight's D&D session on Lionhead Gaming. It is Song of Rapture because it is Thursday, and we only have one announcement in just that John, player of Quill, will not be able to join us tonight, but I'm sure he's popping in to the chat or the stream when he has time and seeing whether or not he's dead or not. Hopefully he won't be. But that's about it. So let's go ahead and get on into it. Monsieur Omen, it is your game. What do you have for us tonight?
Vanguard, they were fresh off of what seemed to be a decisive victory over the enemy they've been hunting throughout this dark and desecrated laboratory, but ultimately find themselves faced with an dead end within this labyrinth. But how you got here is not my story to tell. Can someone tell me what happened last time on the Song of Rapture? Ooh, changing things up.
When last we left our heroes, as I unlocked and removed a strange skull from its resting place, the pools of blood around the valiant vanguard shifted, and more monsters came from within. Patients of Dr. Eric Gellner rose from caskets covered in blood and leapt upon the closest meal. And though their forms were frail, their strength was great as they assailed Quill, Javen, and Gregory, even trying to carry them up the walls. Persephone, using her gift of the forest, pulled her friends out of their grasp with woven vines, keeping their feet on the ground. Gregory, uncertain if these were monsters or men, called upon the light of Avandra to clear all doubt and reveal what they truly were. The answer was clear, as the patients all recoiled from the holy light cascading from his blade, several scrambling up the walls further to evade it. Knowing they were beyond help, the vanguard picked them off one by one, until the last was cornered, 40 feet above them. With nowhere to go, it leapt towards Quill, yet he was ready. His sword slashed into her with utmost haste, right as Persephone pulled her towards Gregory with her vines, and catching the monster midair, his solemn blade cut her head clean off. Trusting my intuition that this skull had some import, I left the room to investigate. A statue that Gregory mentioned was meant to hold the skull. Sure enough, as I placed my prize upon its spike, another door opened. In this room, we would uncover even more. A giant skull with blood flowing from it rested in the center of a large fountain. A slab stood before it with a book that only I could decipher. Written in the dark language of Abyssal was a ritual, a transference of one's life and vitality through blood. Though there was no known way to reverse this ritual, it did say that as long as the receiver did not reach its final stage, they could be cured. Knowing Gregory could not bear much more, this quest and its darkness had already had a profound effect on him. I felt an urge I'd never felt before, to lie for another's sake. I lied to them all to bear any guilt over killing these victims solely on myself. They could not be cured, a cruelty of the ritual, I said. Yet Eric Gellner did not see it as cruelty. He revealed himself standing upon the skull and strolling towards the vanguard calmly. He was saving the people of this town by gifting those who were willing with an escape from death. A new life, he called it. Luna, for the first time since arriving in Garen's Well, saw the man who raised her, but after investigating his lair, after learning what he's done to his patients, she refused to stay silent any longer. The moment she spoke, he recognized her, his daughter, his moonlight. The child who he cared so deeply for, and who would be his key to walk into the sun. She came back. He extended a hand towards her, inviting her to join him, Together, they could save this town. His patients could finally walk upon the surface, no longer afraid of death, of anything. But she would not take his hand. She would not be charmed. She would not join with the man who erased her parents from her memory, who left her mind in this fog. Gregory charged for the doctor, the mark of Malar fueling him as he held Gelner against the skull fountain. How dare this man, this monster, not only taint the souls of the sick, but to manipulate a child to further his goal. The vanguard surrounded him. Javen immediately beat him senseless, but even before that, the doctor did not put up a fight. He went down easy. This time, his form shifted to that of silvery light and floated through a pair of open doors. Gregory charged after him, bursting into the next room and charging to the double doors down the hall. Blinded by his obsession to kill this man, he didn't realize the floor fell beneath his feet before it was too late. We rejoined the valiant vanguard at a dead end. With Gregory sitting at the bottom of this pit, they would need to find the symbol of Sune, or another way to kill this vampire. But time was short. Eric Gelner would be recuperating, and he'd return with a vengeance. Will we be able to get to him first? Find out tonight as we write another verse in Song of Rapture.
Very well done. Give yourself some DM inspiration.
Thank you.
As indeed, we return to a scene rather grim, with it seems like the only source of light guiding the valiant vanguard having fallen down with the crumbling stonework beneath a certain man's feet. Where we rejoin now. Gregory, you find yourself at the bottom of this cold stone pit, your body bashed up into the ground. Fortunately, your anger has sort of helped buffer some of that damage, maybe just numbed you to the pain. But you do find yourself completely separated from the others, your sword sort of clattering to the ground next to you. The light sort of reaching up, just up to the edge of this pit, but only illuminating sort of a spotlight on the ceiling for others to follow. What do you all do?
Do I fear my rage subsiding or not?
It's roll me a no, you're fine. You basically feel like you have you got struck, you were stressed, it was hard for your blood to stop boiling, but considering how you're able to hold yourself together in front of Eric Gelner, your rage is currently yours to control.
As I just plummet into this fucking hole, charging through the wall and just bashing into the far side before falling off to my side. Like, what, 15 feet down? I think.
It is 30 feet down.
Oh, 30 feet. Fuck. Bouncing off the wall, hitting the ground hard. Ow! So I just start to crawl up on my hands and knees and just realize that fuck, you can just hear from the bottom of the hole, just God fucking damn it! As he just slams his fucking forearms and fists against the ground, just trying to catch his breath, just trying to regain his fucking mind.
Are you alright, Gregory?
Do you need help?
Just give me a second. I'm fine. Fuck.
Damn.
Where did he go?
Probably over the giant chasm. Probably through more walls. He could be anywhere at this point.
We need that symbol or something. Do you all remember
Yes.
what Starhold said?
Yeah, he said we either need to find the Stone of Sune that he brought in with him, figure out what binds him to this place and use it against him, or find his true name. So there are a lot of options here, but I don't think we're gonna have a lot of time.
Well, first, let's get Gregory out of this hole. So to start unspooling rope.
Taking your rope out, pouring it down. It seems like you have more than enough in your spool to reach down the bottom of this pit, where, again, illuminated by the light of a sword, you can see Gregory doing whatever Gregory's doing, kneeling down on the ground. what are the rest of you doing as Samantha seems to be going through her things and trying to find a way to get Gregory out?
Yeah,
I'm just-
try to look around, but oh hell, the only torch light is in a pit.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
There looks to be another way, but we'd have to cross this. I mean, I could fly us across, but assuming that's exactly where he went, maybe we should double back and see if we can find anything we can use to have an advantage over him.
That seems like a good idea.
I hear the rope slapping against the wall and slowly get back up to my feet and look up. This is just the light's just barely getting to the edge of the.
It seems like the brightest part reaches about about 20 feet or so up the pit, but then the remaining becomes dim. It's enough to see the shadow against the wall dancing as the rope seems to spool itself down.
As I just and sheath my sword on my back as the light just gets cut off as I start to climb up the.
As I can look
The
down
rope.
and see Gregory grab a hold of the rope. Just a
Or
moment,
maybe you just feel it.
Gregory. Javen, Quill, you mind taking some of this slack?
Sure, who
Order.
wants to run Quill tonight?
I hand some of the slack to Javen.
I can do it.
There you go.
How does Quill talk again?
This.
A grizzled,
Gregory.
Quildor.
courteous knight.
That's right, I am Quildor.
But you're not a dwarf.
I'm an elf. No, I'm just a little bit gravelly.
Yeah.
A little bit serious.
It's a war.
Serious.
Oh, never changes.
Yeah.
As I start climbing up out the hole, as Quill comes over. Yeah, hand me the rope.
Hand him some of the rope.
As he has -5. Oh, that's right, he got blood sucked.
Oh no.
Yep, Quill feeling a little bit cold as it seems like after one of those creatures sunk its teeth into your neck, it drank some of your blood. Like not a lot spilled out until after its mouth left you, and it seemed like it took more than just a bit of the ichor. Some of the actual life force inside of you has been dampened. Although you were quite a hardy elf, despite most elves being relatively thin and maybe not the strongest of constitutions, you are quite an exception.
I'll pull Gregor up out this hole.
Yeah, it seems like with Javen and Quill basically bracing themselves against you, Gregory. Yeah, when you grabbed onto and sort of pull a bit, you felt sort of the resistance of Samantha's weight, and you realize, yeah, if you try to climb this as it is, you're probably going to yank her down in. But with two strong, basically your strongest members of the group supporting you, you're easily able, after about like 10 seconds or so, able to heave ho, walk your way up the wall, and make your way to the edge of this.
What's going on with the cameras tonight?
It's all weird because I got Jordan and Omen, but I don't have you.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it on my end. You are heavy, Timberson.
Sorry.
It's all that muscle.
Starts pushing past the group in the darkness.
So, you got a light?
Yeah. So I just pick up a torch out of my bag and cast a bit of light on it and just chuck it over in Javen's direction.
I heard something. What was that?
Yeah.
It explodes in light before I throw it to you.
Oh.
Yep, basically, he's tossing you this glowing torch, which is key for grab a torch.
You control the torch, Javen.
Mm-hmm.
There you are, Twitch. I found you. No escape.
Is this a door
Nothing.
over here?
As you're looking around Persephone, the group sort of fixating on making sure Gregory gets out. You can sort of peer around your surroundings. You see the walls around you are these all flat stone, except some of them seem to be just deep with cracks and carves inside of them. To the north side of this room, you can see looks like two pathways. One that you notice to the edge of your vision seems to continue onward farther than you can see. The other one, cast in shadow, seems to be. It looks like it would have been a walkway, but there's a wall directly behind it, and there's just this large. Looks like where the actual laboratory is becoming more natural, as there's this large stalagmite sticking out of the ground, and it sits before this deep pit that sort of tapers down, maybe like a harsh 5-foot drop, before it goes even further down, farther than you can actually see. Seems like it's a pretty deep fall if you were to go over it. But looking down at the wall, give me an investigation check.
Ooh.
Okay. You're looking around, trying to look for. It looks like maybe a sign of a door. You're looking into the flat of the stone, sort of putting your hands along it, trying to shift the broken pieces around to find something that might resemble a walkway or something, or like an opening, but nothing. It just one thing you really pick up besides that this place is, especially this one compared to the rest of the laboratory, is definitely in a state of sort of disarray. Is that the cracks along the walls run pretty deep. Like as you get close enough, your dark vision sort of carries a bit further, and you can see some of them go pretty far into the stonework.
Okay, but no door?
Not that you can tell.
No. Gotcha.
Oh, I want to cross here.
No, we're thinking about going back, investigating the other rooms we haven't checked. We need to find something that would end him in finality.
Yeah, even if we catch
You
up
think
to
he would
him
just
now.
store something in here?
What was that, Javen?
It's certainly possible. He seems to keep his hands on everything else. Javen asked if we think he'd just keep something like that in here.
Oh no, the one thing that could defeat me.
Well, Starhold said that he may have just locked it away in this place. And even if it's not, we need to find something else. Something that keeps him bound to this town. The only reason he won't leave. Or his true name. I don't even know what that means or how we would have to use it against him.
Yeah, what do I know about true names, God?
It's a pretty general thing. Some creatures born of magic are created by some sort of, I guess, foulness or just pure magic itself, mostly being demons and devils. Typically, knowing something's true name gives you dominion over them. Not really sure how that applies to vampires, but seems like if it helps, it might work if you can figure out what he's actually called.
Yeah, we're going to need something. We know we can beat him, but we need to actually put him down.
Right, and on that note, Persephone is going to pull out another vial of Quiltrin and hold it to Samantha. He keeps trying to enchant and hypnotize everyone here. So I think you should hold on to this. It could help.
Just take that from you.
Just a very important note. Don't just take it whenever. It doesn't last very long, and sometimes it might leave you a little. Well, you'll feel a little bit like pasta.
Cooked pasta, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
Pasta.
I used to take this whenever I was stressed out right before a lesson. It would help me relax, but if I wasn't careful, sometimes
stop.
I would be.
As Gregory, Luna, Persephone, Gregory and Luna, you're watching Persephone and Samantha leave towards the door, Quill and Javen taking up the back. You hear this soft sound coming from across this abyss, this crackle. You get back there. You get back.
Ah!
Solid kid. There. You hear this crackling sound coming from the other side. Fortunately, Javen, with your torch in hand, able to see through the darkness this large shape starting to move and twitch, but you're trying to make it out what exactly it is. It seems to just sort of blend into the surroundings until upon the stalagmite, you just see this large, gaping, monstrous looking eye open up and stare at you. And along the sides of this twisted stalactite, seems like parts of it just peel off and rip into these long and thin-looking tendrils as this thing sprouts. Looks like a mouth, eyes, and just winding tentacles. As I'm gonna need y'all to roll some initiative.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Hey, look! I found our way across the chasm.
Go elevator service.
As it goes, whoa!
Will or
It just wants to give you a hug, a
Yeah,
nice,
go doors
weird,
like quack.
very
Quack one.
tentacle-y hug.
Hey, is that everybody? 3, 4, 6. That looks like a Valiant Vanguard. All right, as Javen and Quill, although both are, I guess it's Javen, starting with him, quick on your feet, although able to see this creature just moments before its a surprise appearance seems to catch you off guard, as it seems like the rest of the party was moving on without truly investigating or perceiving this area, as you and the rest of your party are surprised, as is Luna and as is Quill. As this creature, you see these winding tentacles extend out, and as they seem to continue to unravel and pull across, like unspooling themselves almost from this creature, you can see them sort of stretching and contorting. They only look to be about like 10, 15 feet long until they whip out through the darkness at you guys, and you can see they extend much, much further as you have attack going at Gregory, Luna, Quill, and Javen. Let's see, starting with Gregory, Luna, Quill, Javen.
oof.
And I'd say, Javen, you have half cover just because Quill is sort of basically in front of you. This thing's trying to attack around you.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it.
Oh, I don't have my sword out anyways. Never mind.
As it looks like Gregory able to deflect it or avoid it as quickly as you can, but Luna, Quill, and unfortunately I think Javen just barely dodges it,
Yep.
thanks to Quill's body.
Just out of the way. Thanks,
As
Quill.
both Luna and Quill, you seem to be ensnared in these tentacles wrapping around your body. Again, continue to lengthen and pull as it seems like you guys are not only grappled, but restrained. And then with this sudden twisting, like elastic stretching sound, like a bong, it seems like you guys get pulled across. You see Gregory, Luna get shifted across the ground through the air. And surprisingly, seemingly stopped as these tendrils, although rubbery and elastic, seem to extend out to the air and then dip down almost like fishing hooks. As it seems like Luna gets sort of stopped in the air at one point, and Quill gets slowly but surely dragged even further close to it. As Luna is currently suspended over the pit, and Quill is pulled to this thing's mouth, which it's going to use in this one solid bout as this stone seems to rip apart, and this long, fleshy, protruding mouth filled with teeth extends outward and tries to bite you, Quill.
You dumb monster. That'll get him. Because I don't think he has anything, right?
Don't think so. As the teeth go immediately flying over to your shoulder and under your arm, digging into the soft spots of your plate mail and finding purchase in your flesh, dealing, 20 piercing damage. As this thing seems to be biting and gnawing and chewing on your buff elf man. Seems like, Gregory, you're catching yourself aware, realizing what's happening. There's a monster down there on the edge of your vision, coming down through Persephone and Samantha, all surprised, until finally, we return to Javen, realizing now what's happening. The place is coming alive again and trying to kill you. What do you do?
How far across is the pit again?
Looks like if you were to measure from level surface, it's about 20 feet. This thing seems to dip down about 5 feet sharply, which you probably need a sturdy foot, maybe a bit of a balance to step on that without slipping. And then same thing on this other side. So if we're going from flat spot to flat spot, the most level area, it's 20 feet.
Okay. Well, Javen, seeing the place come alive again, and this time with some weird, I guess, I don't want to say eldritch, but some sort of aberrant abomination. Not even sure how to comprehend this thing. Ooh. He'll take a step back. I heard those boulders. As he'll focus all his his key down from his belly into his legs, as he'll use a key point as a bonus action to Oh, where I put it? Step of the wind! And double
Nice.
my jump distance.
Oh yeah.
Because I want to. I want to soar. Here, I'll take a step back, and then take a 10-foot running start, and then just fling himself. Literally fling himself at this thing.
As you all watch through, guided with the light of Gregory's torch, you see Javen take a few steps back and then run forward and then fly through the air as a flying dragon before landing on the ground in front of this thing, which, yeah, now that you're looking at it closer with the light burning in its face, it looks like it just a stalactite came to life and has eyes and teeth and big, hugging, squeezing tendrils.
As... I don't know where to really hit it, but... There's a big ol' eye. I'll attack the big eye.
Alright.
Get punched. Eye to attacks. Coming at it.
As you swing your fist out, this thing, first strike comes at it. It goes pretty well straight to the eye. This thing's not very mobile, but then it blinks, and you can see this large lid go over the big red bulbous orb. And it seems like as you strike it, it feels like you're punching into stone itself. Your fist's a bit rattled by it, but then you strike again as it opens its eye to look at you, and then bam, you crash right into this big squishy orb as you do strike it with a 28.
Get stroked. Wait.
Well, don't say that.
Wait.
The word you're looking for is struck.
Yes, stroked.
As you punch it in the eye.
6 punch. Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Use my action, bonus action.
As Luna, you're suspended in the air, wrapped and restrained by this thing's tendril. It seems like you're about to fall down to this pit until this, the strength of this thing seems to sort of hold you over like a fishing hook. As you're now dangling down over this pit with, thanks to your dark vision, you can see it goes down at least, like it's like 70, maybe 80 feet to the bottom. It's gonna be a harsh drop if you hit, and you are currently being suspended over it. What do you do?
Can I try to swing to like the wall and try to semi-climb back up?
Sure. Which side do you swing into?
I'll try to go to the side.
Okay. Give me an athletics check. Actually, no, give me an athletics or an acrobatics check. Ooh, as it seems like this thing is quite taut, as like even though you're trying to wiggle yourself to and fro, trying to shift your weight and move your balance around to try and maneuver yourself, this thing is quite strong. It seems like that curve it's holding you straight is basically keeping you there. But with enough force wiggling to and fro, working it quite hard, it seems like you finally find enough leeway to actually throw yourself over here and you can sort of catch onto the edge. You're not quite free of this thing's grasp. It seems like if this thing were to pull you again, you'd go right back over, but you found some footing here. Just barely, like, you're being pulled this way with the tentacle wrapped around your chest, and your feet are sort of just tiptoeing on the edge of this thing. You're here. You're standing. But if you want to get out, you probably got to get out now.
If I get out now, I'll probably fall to my death, so I'll just take the dodge action for now.
Okay, as you... Well, you would... I wasn't saying to help you. You would know that to be able to dodge, you need some sort of nimble footing. Your speed is reduced to 0 as being restrained or grappled. You can't really dodge. There's no way to be evasive while someone's hanging you by a hook.
Just totes my goats, try to escape. You're already
What
on
do you
the
wanna do, buddy?
stone.
And yeah, I'll try to escape.
All right, give me another acrobatics or athletics check. As you start to pull yourself forward, pulling against the tendril, its hold on you is a bit too tight. It seems like your movement has caused it to sort of adjust its hold, and it tightens up along you. As you start to pull yourself along, feeling your footing, gaining you maybe like 1 or 2 steps, but then it slides you back, and you're back to tiptoeing on the edge of this thing.
That'll be my turn so far.
All right. As Quill, wrapped up and restrained and having a big chunk of your shoulder having bitten to by these thousands of teeth, seems like Javen has joined you by your side at fighting this thing, although you are restrained.
I have to cut this thing to pieces. as he pulls out his long sword and tries to stab down the creature. Is he restrained, you said?
He is restrained.
Alright, he is going to try to release himself first as he takes his sword and tries to hack away at this tendril wrapped around his body. Although it might be a...
Sure. The next
He's got a
guy.
magical blade to do it with. And click disadvantage. Shit, 13.
As you're taking your sword, you're twisting it around, trying to put a good place, and finally you see this one part become taut and sort of straighten itself out as you swing to cut it, and then immediately as it does, it bends with your sword. An edge of it gets sliced by its very keen magical blade, but not enough to really cut it, and the tentacle adjusts itself around you. That will not connect.
He's just gonna keep trying to release himself to cut this thing off of him. Thankfully, Javen is free. Not one to end up killing Luna as he's just trying to cut himself free. There we go.
As you take your sword and swing it again to the side, you find a good spot, and finally, as this thing straightens out, you cut and dig your sword into it, and starts to cut into the flesh, and then you realize this thing is wiry and rubbery, and as the blade digs and digs into the material, it cuts into it, but not enough to really stop it from moving, and it slips the blade out, as that will, strangely enough, not do it. This thing is strangely resilient.
Ooh. And, let's see. Don't know if he can use his fighting style. Just when something moves, right? Yeah. Instead of that, he is basically just trying to shove his shield up underneath this tendril wrapped around him and shoving, trying to get him some space so he can fucking breathe, trying to pull the teeth up out of his plate mail, trying to just regain himself in combat as he's stabbing away at this thing, as he just takes a breath trying to refocus, as he's just going to use some second.
All right.
Oh, he doesn't have it in here.
1d10 plus your fighter level. 1d10 plus 9.
He's a straight up fighter. Alright.
Ooh. But as you regain some of your stamina, having caught your breath and basically fastened your footing to the ground, realizing this is going to be quite a tough little tussle.
Yeah, that's him.
Alrighty. As we come down to this creature, you can see its tendril wrapping up around you, Quill, starting to tighten itself around you, Luna, but then two more come whipping out across. One coming at you, Javen, full on. The other one coming back out at Gregory, although it seems like with Javen right in the way, although this thing is tall, it still gives you a bit of cover. So first Javen and then Gregory. Javen 11, Gregory 8. Ooh, as these things are whipping wildly through the air, just smacking to the wall next to you, Javen, and then wildly across you, Gregory. Seems like it's trying to get around Javen to get to you, but then it smacks into this lip, sort of next to Luna, but just sort of cracking loudly, as it's not able to do so. But as it starts to twist and pull, you can feel Luna, your footing on this thing, begin to slip and pull, as suddenly you are yanked about here. Still suspended in the air, having been unswung from the ledge. And now that there is another creature accosting it, one not quite able to harm it, but the other punching it in the eye, Javen, this thing's mouth is going to be aimed at you. It's going to try and bite you. Ooh, how do you dodge this? This giant mouth coming to clomp down on top of you.
Yeah, as the first tendrils sort of come at me, Javen, not really one to hide block like Quinn, sort of redirects the tentacles out of the way using his hands, and then this time with the bite, oh, that's kind of hard. As he actually grapples up on top of it, sort of narrowly missing the bite, but then as the rope starts to wiggle, he shakes himself off, not wanting to...
Jumping up and
Goes
holding
above
on
him.
to the bike
Yeah,
below
but
him, and then you land back as he pulls back, almost Looney Tunes style, just walking and dodging around this thing. I love it. All right, that's all it can do. Gregory, now getting your bearing on the situation, realizing, yeah, your friends are in trouble. What do you do?
Shit. Blown up. Damn it. And he just sort of looks around himself to see what the hell he can do. See everybody over in that corner fighting, and this tendril holding Luna, just precariously dangling to her death. Hell. Yo! As I call out to the other two, Persephone and Samantha, start taking large steps back. Hell! As I'm just going to charge and leap. Because I'm a big old chargy boy, as I do have to dash to get enough movement to get here, but I dash across and just haul my ass across this cat fern as I land hard on the other side, sort of rolling and skidding to my feet as I start charging over to this tendril that's holding Luna, that's like dangling over Javen's head, I guess, as I try to reach out and grab it to try to haul Luna in, but that is all I can do.
Okay. Bit of a hard jump, but fortunately with your strength, you're able to lob yourself across this thing without having to really rely on any magical power or strange mystical energy within you. You are a
20 feet, motherfucker.
Heck yeah. Persephone, you hear the sounds of whipping and screaming, and it sounds like the of teeth sinking into flesh, as well as metal being charred and not charred, tested against hard stone. Seems like your allies are in some deep trouble.
Yeah, turning around and immediately seeing these tendrils just yank my friends away, I'm gonna quickly run to the scene, get a better look at everything, and I see Luna dangling over the pit. So I am going to try... Could I use my Gift of the Guardian to try to bring her, like, next to me?
I'm gonna say basically it's like a straight line to you. So if you want to pull her like to that space, it'd be like, I'm trying to point here. Oh, right here.
Like here?
Like there, yeah.
Alright, could I have stopped here instead, or should I
Sure, that's fine.
stay here? Okay. I didn't think that through. Alright, so I'm going to use my Gift of the Guardian to try to grab Luna and yank her back to safety.
Alright, give me an attack roll. Not against Luna's AC.
It's in there.
Should I
Ooh.
roll it again?
No, it's fine. I was just saying, I was just saying that you weren't attacking Luna specifically. Your whole attack at this thing's grasp. It seems like as it's sort of dangling her around, Luna's trying to find another place to swing back and forth. Fortunately, you are quite proficient now with this whipping of your magical thorn whip. As the thorns retract, and now it's just sort of a safe whip. You reach out and wrap it around Luna, and with a harsh pull, you actually free her from her grasp. 20 will connect.
It's a Lady Roper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah!
As you slow Luna, you feel yourself get yanked to sort of tighten it as the tentacle seems to squeeze around your body for a second. But it seems like this thing is somewhat slick, and with a bit of a Persephone pulling you by the mid-waist of your body, seems to slip you right out as the tentacle seems like almost knot itself for a moment, and then you get slipped free and land on your feet right in front of Persephone, no longer restrained.
Are you okay?
Oh, I was gonna get out of there by myself. You didn't have to do that.
I can still push you down.
That's my turn.
All right. As Samantha, you see Persephone run over, and with a crack of her own whip, she seems to pull Luna out of whatever danger she was in.
What on earth is going on over here? As I just sort of wheel around, scepter at my side, and then see Javen holding a torch, Quill restrained up inside of tentacles or something, and blood coming out of his shoulder, Gregory heaving his sword towards this thing. Alright. Well, I'm just trying to take aim, seeing them all in the way, but seeing this thing is quite large. How tall is it?
It's about like maybe 8-9 feet tall. The ceiling in here goes up about like 12, maybe 15 feet. So it looks like this large stalactite might be getting close to the ceiling, but I think it's almost wedged in this small little pocket. Tall enough to go over the heads of your allies, so it's easy enough. You could shoot around them regardless.
I doubt you're actually made of rock. You don't look like an elemental, as I'm gonna just start conjuring up my great big green bow around my scepter and just giving it a twist as the energy begins to crackle with all of my wrath as I infuse it with poison and fire 2 bolts. And crit twice.
Ooh. As both those will connect, these very well-aimed shots heading right towards it. How do you want to crit it?
Yeah, I just sort of come around and my snakes just sort of just go around and just take an assessment of the whole situation. Something I guess we didn't really do, and that's how we got surprised in the first place. And I just sort of wait for just the opportune moment, much like a snake, I guess. And I'm just holding the draw and just waiting. Each like moment passes, and right when I see just the perfect shot to hit it, I guess straight down its mouth, between Quill and Javen, just 2 shots right behind each other. Just try to punch through the back of it and fill it full of poison.
All right, give me that damage. 17, 21 plus 14 is 35 damage. Nice. As those both shots fly into its mouth, Quill and Javen and Gregory, you can see flashes of green light enter this thing's mouth, and then as it closes for a moment, there's a sort of poof as the body seems to deform and stretch, and opens it up as smoke and blood pour out from it as it takes a hefty amount of damage. It seems like that energy is trying to take effect as well. Ooh-ah. And as it does, you can see it sort of twitching, and it's sort of like normally straight body begins to sort of curl and sort of deform a bit, as it seems like it's been either grievously wounded or sickened by some sort of foul magic.
You all alright? So they say that to Persephone and Luna.
Yeah.
Alright, good. That's it for me.
Alrighty, as Javen, it seems like this thing's still holding tight on the quill, but it's no longer standing as straight as it once was, and it's bleeding profusely out of the mouth that just tried to eat you. What do you do?
Oh yeah, now I remember why I didn't try to shove Quill. I didn't want to send him spiraling into the abyss.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the same tactics worked the first time, but I see Gregory trying to worm himself in, so I'll give him a wink as I send a left haymaker. Oh. No, it's a distraction
With
strike.
that lift to his head, you
Good
see
old
it
haymaker.
arches forward, and as it leans into the one
forward
side,
punch comes.
yeah, you catch it in the face, as that will connect. Give me that damage.
Does it have anything?
Damage
that
roll.
is
Ooh, as you catch it firmly in the face, basically in the soft spot of its eye once more, as poof, the body leans in the other direction as you do quite a hefty amount of damage to it, but it still seems to be moving and its tentacles seem to be writhing in the air.
As using my martial arts feature, I'll attack one more time as a bonus action. Just striking again with my left fist. Ugh.
Ooh, as that will hit. Poof, another strike connecting into this large stone, at least stone-seeming structure. Another fist crackles into the stonework. You see pieces of its outer shell falling away, revealing some of the soft, more meatier parts of it, but then some of that begins to reform itself. It's still alive.
And one flourishing blow, sort of twisting around, able to get away without a reprieve from him. Move over a bit. And Gregory can do some damage. Stop my turn.
All right. Luna, you find yourself free from this thing's grasp and also on stable footing once more. Seems like Persephone has saved you, and now there's an open line directly between you and this creature that tried to grab you.
Guess I'm gonna throw a fireball as you can hear all the background noise.
Ooh, as that will connect, your bolt flying between Gregory and Quill and striking true into this creature. Wow, doing considerable amount of damage as the stonework is crackling and falling away. It seems like some of the soft spots have been revealed, and before the shell can seemingly recoil itself, it seems like your fire finds purchase in the soft flesh and just devastates the basically exposed vulnerable areas of this creature as it is sort of leaning into the now burning and bleeding flesh, blood still pouring out of its mouth, its head now leaning, almost falling prone if that were possible, as this thing does not look good.
So I will get out of sight, and that will be my turn.
All right, and Quill, it comes down to you, still wrapped up in this tendril that seems to be keeping a firm hold on you, but this creature does not look like he has many legs to stand on, if any at all.
Good shot, Luna. Ah! As he's going to just try to stab his sword into the eye of this thing, giving up on the tendril, just trying to finish this thing off before it can get its big ol' nasty teeth into it, as he's just stabbing outwards. Ah!
Ooh, how do you want to kill this thing?
He just brings his sword back, holding away the tendrils with this sword as he just stabs forward, the sword just like skidding across the top of his shield into the eye of this thing as it just cuts deep, and he just slashes sideways, just tearing the eye to pieces off the line.
As the eye gets torn into, the sword sinking into the soft flesh, basically going deeper and deeper into the only thing that really resembles tissue on this thing. This thing's body lurches, and you finally feel despite it being cut and attacked by your sword, the tendril around your body just slides and goes limp as this thing just its head seems to lurch forward until all the stonework crumbles away from it, until you see what really resembles like a soft and squishy looking squid hiding within the rubble. But it goes motionless, and you find yourselves. Seconds ago, you were at peace. Now fighting a creature, but once again finding a moment of solace amidst the chaos.
Horrible creature. Born in caves, I think.
I can't hear you, Jordan.
Alright, so we can't relax even for a moment.
Yeah.
Do you guys need some help across?
No, I could make my way across myself. Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Oh, wait. I'm not quite as strong as Gregory. Maybe I can.
Ah, so you admit it, Quill.
Yeah. It seems like you could try it, Quill. There might be just enough room if you really push it, but it might take a check of sorts, a little bit of a test of yourself. See if you could really make it. Not quite as muscular as Quill, as Greg.
I mean, I could probably use my vines to help some of you halfway through.
No, it's fine. I can do it. Just give me some space.
Okay, that's what you truly believe, then go for it.
There's another way away, y'all. If you said he went this way, right? You don't want to.
The Shaven flings himself, stepping of the wind before.
As you're talking, Gregory, there's this giant flying dragon jumping off the ground. Your hair getting your short hair being blown in one direction as you see Javen just rolling his arms and legs in the sky as he crashes on the ground, landing quite gracefully.
Yeah, we want to check the other rooms to see if we can find something.
Alright.
Because if we go after him now, we won't be able to defeat him.
Gotcha.
Unless you want to be the
Javen,
guardians of his
get out of
coffin.
the way, please.
What about his coffin?
So we want to be the guardians of his coffin.
Oh, yeah, I'd rather not.
Javen, please.
Oh, when you say it like that. Yeah, I gotcha.
You're
Javen.
holding your hands out to take Quill in your arms, Javen. Are you gonna catch him?
Yes, I will catch him.
I'm
Okay.
fine. Just get out of the way.
Oh, fuck.
You're on the landing.
Thank you.
I could have caught you.
As Quill tries to center himself, as he gives a running start, he can jump 18 feet.
Mhm.
It's gonna be close.
Give me an athletics check.
Persephone's gonna pull her thorn whip. If Quill looks like he's not gonna quite make it, she'll assist him.
Athletics check.
I push him 10 feet into the pit.
Oh, I don't know why my disadvantage. 14.
Seems like you catch your foot on the edge of this cliff, Quill, and you push off, and you can feel the stonework somewhat break beneath your foot, and it sort of gives you a moment of worry as it seems like you didn't get quite as hard a jump off the edge. But fortunately, your feet, heavy and firm, crash into sort of the shallow dip, or I guess the steep dip rather, of this edge, and you find at least enough stable footing to pull yourself up maybe 1 or 2 steps, and you're back on the edge.
I'm fine. See? Not a problem.
Oh my god.
Crawls his way back up over the ledge. Sort of like walking back into the darkness. As you just hear the thunk, 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 as Gregory just launches himself across the chasm. Sorry, chasm!
As Gregory, you land with great strength and weight as you find firm footing beneath your feet.
I will then.
Seems like you guys are making your way back west through the wing. You walk through this desolated, broken area back into something a bit more firm and refined. This strange pit, like a pond, like a fountain of sorts, with a large skull at the center and blood just sort of trickling down from the eyes and nose, staining the white stonework a deep red.
Wait, Samantha.
Hmm?
Oh, there she goes. Starhold mentioned a library. We should probably check every room on our way back. Just check anything. Unless everybody's adamant about going back to the fancy door.
I suppose this could be the library. There was a book there. Hopefully these aren't separate rooms. Do the doors look the same?
The doors in here look the same as the ones you came from and the ones you just came from here. It seems like, although some of the other doors are either made of wood or sometimes like a carved stone, these ones are a thick and heavy stone. From this side, you can see each one seems to be anchored by chains, like some mechanism. It seems like these doors are the same as the ones that you unlocked with that skull talisman.
Soul talisman.
Skull.
The skull.
Skull talisman. Okay.
Skilled.
Can we get a soul talisman? What?
Gold.
Well, let's
I'm
see
gonna
what's
try to
behind
open it.
these. If there's
Alright.
horrible monsters, well, unless it's a library. As I open this door.
As Persephone opens this one.
All right, you guys are
Gregory
opening
and Quill get in defensive positions.
Alrighty. As both of you reach out and open these doors, basically at the same time, both of you swinging them wide, and you can see you only go about so far, maybe about 15, 20 feet or so into like it looks like a hallway before the light of, I guess, looks like Javen's torch seems to spill out a bit further, revealing that these rooms are conjoined. And the first thing you really make out at the center of these, besides some soft candlelight ahead of you, is the glisten, the reflection of what looks like your light against the sheer face of crystalline glass. As you see pressed up against the wall, maybe about like 4.5 feet off the ground, are these large canisters. They look like tanks, but the edges are almost faceted like gems. And all of them, with Greg, again, with the light actually giving color to your dark vision, looks to be a dark red in color.
Oh my god.
What in the fucking hell?
Persephone's gonna walk in cautiously.
You see at the center of this room, the light casting ahead of you, this large carving into the ground. Not rough, not particularly like handmade. It almost looks perfect. This symbol that most of you have seen before, though it was written in blood and basically also carved into stone on the islet of Stroma. It's this large, I guess from your direction, this looks like a star with a circle around it. But considering the grim surroundings, you would recognize it as the symbol of abyssal magic. And at the center of it, at the center of this small, I guess you call it it's like a pentagram at the center, is one of these similar tubes, these canisters, these tanks of this dark red color, although it's considerably large. It's about 8 feet off, it's about 8 feet tall. And it seems like the insides are, now that you're actually getting a light next to them, you can see they're sort of swirling, just ever so slightly, revealing that they're not just a large crystal, they are containers. And their contents seem to be sort of rippling, moving. Javen, with your light next to one, you can look inside this tank. What color is your light, Gregory? Is it just white?
At this point, it's that pale blue light.
Sure. Sort of pale blue light piercing into the dark red. You can make out some strange shapes. You can see like small, almost white ivory, like almost like chunks of stone, maybe like sharp shards, sort of just loosely floating through this liquid. Every once in a while, you see like a small, round, marbled shape. All of this just sort of loosely floating around and moving.
Wait, Luna, I wouldn't. Oh. Well.
What are you doing, Luna?
I'm looking at. I see that thing on the pedestal, but what is it in front of?
It looks like at the end of this is another small pond of sorts of. Well, your vision carries even further than the dark than others can. You can actually discern the colors of this place. It looks like more deep, dark red liquids swimming into this small little fountain area. At the center of which, sort of chained together, is this. It looks like a statue of a man, although there's no real features on the face. It seems like what there would be hair, maybe it's the bald head. You see sharp pointed ears on either side of its face and this long cowl with a cloak going down its back. And its hands seem to be almost gesturing out towards this pedestal. And at the top of the pedestal is, it looks like a small vial, maybe about like 6 inches long, sort of cylindrical in shape, coated in both gold and silver like tracings along it. It looks, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it looks like very ornate. And it too is this dark red color. But yeah, you're looking around this place, and Samantha and Persephone rounding the corners, what now looks like another altar top. You can see it looks like a collection of some sort of apothecary devices. You see flasks and bottles. Looks like some of them can be containing some sort of liquid, alchemical component. And at the center of this, which is another book, although this one is much less refined, sort of held by, it looks like the bones of some creature's hands. Inside, you can see handwriting, sort of refined and careful, written in ink, not blood this time, as it seems to be, looks like a journal or a notebook, sort of with lots of checks and minuses and scratched out words. Looks like looks like what you'd expect of, probably you would do, or we'd see, Persephone, when you would work on your potions in Locasta's workshop. You would see her own sort of notebook when she'd be testing new tonics. Seems like this is what someone would use for experimentation.
Yeah, I'm gonna start rifling through the book.
Sure. Just reading through the pages.
Yeah.
Give me
Trying to get an idea of what
give me
it's
an int check.
containing. Oof. Straight int.
Great int. The first thing this reminds you of, Persephone, is a long lost friend of yours now, Paracelsus. The words are long, strewn, very carefully written, able to be read, but sort of the meaning gets lost on you a couple times. It seems like he's not speaking in terms of like natural like remedies or things, like not even like true magic. It seems like it's almost scientific in the way it mentions things. You pick up on words like arcana, you pick up on words like conjuration, and of course one of the most prominent being blood all over the place. But what exactly it's trying to say, kind of hard for you to really pick up on.
Just peering over her shoulder with multiple sets of eyes. It isn't. It must be a journal.
Yeah, but
Maybe his work process?
yeah, I think so. It's very intensive, but I can't really make heads or tails of what it is that he's been doing. I mean, it involves blood.
As I look around at all the containers.
That's probably all he's been doing with the donations. But I don't know what.
Yeah, let me see.
I step out of the way, let her go through it.
Pick up the journal, hold it up, and just sort
Actually,
of.
seems like it's fixed in place. Seems like
by
these
the
hands
hands?
coming out of by the altar. Seems like the hands are actually either built in or wedged into the stonework. It seems like these hands are holding it fastened. Even though you pull against it, you're expecting like maybe it's bones, it's brittle, you can try to pry it free. It seems held fast. But you can easily just look through the pages.
I look to the back of the hands. Does it look like there's like something attaching it to the stone or something?
Again, it looks like where these skeletal hands should like maybe be like fastened, or it looks like they should be like maybe like someone made into like an altar top and like screwed it or bolted or welded it down. It just looks like the actual bone just extends into the stonework, like someone just staked it, and it is not budging. Or perhaps the hands are just coming out of the stone.
Can I peel the fingers back?
Give me a straight up strength check. Yeah, you're pulling again. It feels like this should be bone, easy to break, but you pull, and they do not move. They're resilient. This is bone. It's some strong bone.
He really didn't want this to leave the room.
I'll figure that problem out later. As I just sort of look at the what's written in the book, trying to make heads or tails of it. Was that woman, as I sort of just, as I'm looking down at the book, some of my snakes still looking around the room, was that woman still in a cell when we came back through?
Yeah,
You
she
remember?
was.
She was? Okay.
She was sleeping.
That's
It's
right.
probably for the best.
As I try to make heads or tails of the journal notes.
Sure. Roll me a straight in check. Basically, brute force trying to understand where his process is.
And you only do pre-roll inspiration, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Chaos gods. Damn it.
All right. You're looking at this thing. You can pick up a bit more than Persephone. You're kind of getting a better understanding. It looks like this is a trial and error process. And flipping through some of the pages, the small writing, the many, again, this looks like a thick tome, but you realize this is a journal, which is strange because usually journals are small and well kept, easy to carry with you. Tomes are large and thick and filled with usually years of information. And this is written like a notebook. Kind of implies that maybe he's been doing what he's been doing for a while. All you can really pick up from what he's writing, again, a bit more than Persephone, is seems like he's trying to do something with blood. He's trying to make something happen, and it's not quite working. He mentions trying to create something, trying to create and finish something he's been working on for a long time. He's been missing a piece. He had the piece is gone.
This plays into what I understand from the ritual from earlier, from that book. It'll just be something to take once we're done with this whole business, as Samantha's attention breaks away from it to the gigantic thing here in the middle. Where'd Luna go?
I saw her go around. She's on the other side.
What did the rest of y'all do? And as Persephone, Samantha, and I guess, Persephone and Samantha seem to be investigating the book. What are the rest of y'all doing in here?
Will's just sort of watching the group, not wanting to step inside of the circle, trying to give warnings, but apparently nobody's heeding them. And Gregory is just looking up for this fucking room, seeing the signs of infernal fucking bullshit. Of course he deals with fucking demons and devils.
Hearsay, I say.
And then just sort of looking back at Samantha and Perse looming over the book and stuff, and just he doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and he doesn't know where to go next. He's just hoping somebody will say.
Now this is sort of leaks out of what Javen's used to. Again. So sort of like Gregory. Javen doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So, this collection vessel is very interesting.
Is this container also like 20 feet high or 10
It's
feet
about
high?
like 9-8 feet high. You investigating it, looking it through?
Yeah.
Sure. Give me actually you're close enough and you have enough light. Yeah, with the candlelight behind you, Javen's light on the other side, and your natural dark vision sort of aiding you. You're actually looking into this tank. And again, the contents inside, now that you're looking with light, sort of giving some light and darkness to the movements within, it looks like the stuff inside this thing is sort of gently swirling around. And as you're looking closely, give me an investigation check. You can see, again, like floating throughout this dark red ichor are like these tiny little shards, almost like a white or gray stone, just sort of moving freely within. It looks like pieces of something are moving. And then every once in a while, this large, like, slab, like this large, dense mass of this liquid sort of swims between them and wraps around them. Looks like it's almost like parts of it are moving on their own volition until they all start moving slowly again.
What's that?
I'm not sure. I see shards of sorts inside, and there's movement in there. Does it look like it's just the liquid itself moving, or does it look like there's another mass moving within?
Hard to say with that investigation. It seems like maybe you'd think it's multiple parts because there's almost inconsistencies in what you're seeing, but the next moment it seems to all sort of meld back together.
Yeah, it's like I see something there distinctly, but then it almost merges with it again. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I've seen anything like it before. But it's huge and it's in this container and it's in the center of this circle. So whatever he's trying to do, whatever it is, it's centered here.
Does everything with this middle circle seem to corroborate with what I read of the ritual process? Just look intimately part of it?
You definitely see a large abyssal circle on the ground. It seems connected. You're trying to piece it together, Samantha. Something about giving life, using blood to give life to things. And from what you understood from his journal, it's a bit hazy. It seems like he was trying to create something. The only real piece you can put together is maybe he's trying to create something with blood.
I would not be surprised if whatever it is he's working on is contained within these things. He's trying to create things out of blood, and all of these containers seem to be full of it. And there is a magic circle connected to the abyss on the ground. I would keep your distance from those containers and stay on guard as well. I would not be surprised if something tries to stop us again. Now, what are you? Samantha's attention mostly shifts to the end of this area, I guess.
Sure. Again, with Luna sort of fixed where she is, but looking off in this direction as you move past, you see this shape at the end. Looks like a large another fountain again of this dark red that you can probably tell was blood. Actually, with your edge of your vision, you probably won't be able to see the light behind you. It looks like this dark gray liquid, but you can sort of pick it up.
Does it smell like
piece it
iron?
together. It doesn't really smell like anything, to be honest. Everything in this thing is sort of dank. But you get close and you can see this artist statue again, this like bald-headed creature with like pointed ears, holding these. Now that you get closer and can see better, these like almost clawed fingertips extending outward, almost either trying to take or maybe gesturing towards this pillar, almost to hold it. And at the center of this pillar resting is that crystalline-looking vial with silver and gold trim along the edge. It looks very ornate and very delicate, almost very important.
I'm going to conjure a fire flower in my hand to bring in a little more light. The back end of the room.
Okay.
And I'm going to summon forth my butlered hand. As the glove hand floats over and tries to pick up the crystal.
You reach down with the hand and grab onto it, and easily enough it lifts off. Having to be very delicate with it, because again, as you notice, it seems very fragile, but it doesn't seem to be fixed down or held by anything. The hand sort of lifts it up very gently, and again, it's somewhat large. It's about 6 inches long, so it's not particularly heavy, but it does fill the hand's grasp quite a bit. And as it lifts up, you can see almost like, looks like the shadow behind this thing is deep and dark, and as you lift it up, you realize not just the shadow, there's something almost tethering it, and then as it lifts up higher and moves it away, the tether seems to fade, this dark tendril, as all around you hear
Oh no.
and next to you, Quill and Luna, hear this crackling sound as the tops of these canisters suddenly begin to twist and turn and boil and bubble, and then blood seems to spill out all across the ground, lathering Gregory, Javen, Quill, and Luna's feet, sort of stopping on the edge of Samantha and Persephone, as does the center of this large looming canister, as blood just begins slipping and spilling outside of it, basically it was like puddling in these great mounds. And Gregory and Quill and Javen next to you guys, you can see some of the puddles sort of ooze across the ground and rise up, and you see those strange shapes taking form within them. You can see those shards of stone sort of twisting and turning, the marbles within rolling, and you realize what those are now, Javen, getting a better look at them. The shards of stone are teeth. The marbles are eyes. As you see a number of these creatures suddenly pull themselves together, but there's no real togetherness of these things. Their bodies are twisted and oblong. You can see mouths of these teeth opening across, creating maws within, and inside those maws are more eyes. and the first thing that fills the room besides the smell and the texture of blood is just gibbering and shattering of teeth and numerous voices as these horrible looking things take shape in front of you. And next to you, Luna, as this large mound of a flask begins to unfurl itself, the blood pouring itself on the ground, you can see it pulls itself together in another large and looming clot. This thing that rises before you, taking shape around this thing, almost like its body can form around the canister, has no eyes. But it looms over you, and all those stone shards coalesce together into a great funnel and take the shape of teeth. As you see not only these strange and sort of gibbering, chattering mouths covered in eyes, abominations before you, you also see this massive 8-foot-tall golem of tissue and blood, no eyes to be seen, but a whole body full of horrible, gnashing teeth. As I need you guys to roll me some initiative.
Yeah, what kind of darkest dungeon do we walk into?
Ooh.
I don't like this place. I don't like where this is going. Stop. Stop. Stop.
See?
Will not quite up fast enough to take this time.
It's okay, Gregory is my shield. Oh wait, I'm first.
Hell.
Yeah, I definitely don't like this place.
All right. As you guys are not surprised, having seen these things slowly but surely manifest around you, but Javen, you step on the ground and you feel looks like the blood that spread out in these great puddles are now starting to rise up and sort of looks like looking down at your feet. It looks like the puddles are rising up over your feet, but then you can see tiny little shards sort of rising up to clasp onto your actual your boots or the soles of your feet, whichever you wear shoes. I don't know. As it seems to be trying to cling to you. As I'm gonna need a strength saving throw at the start of your turn.
Oh no. I have proficiency in this.
You do?
Ah, take that, kid. I got.
Easily enough, you're able to lift your feet off the ground, and it seems like it doesn't quite accost you as much, although when you put your foot down, it seems to hold on to you, as this puddle of blood seems to be difficult terrain for you. But even so, you hear this all these voices speaking out at you in this horrible mawing mouth, as I'm gonna need a wisdom saving throw.
Fine, I'm not proficient in those.
This is exactly like Stroma!
But your mind begins to become befuddled, but you shake it off. It's almost like you're entering a weird drunken state, and you're used to that. You're not going to let yourself be so easily taken, as you're perfectly fine at the start of your turn. But within these puddles of blood surrounding you, you realize that these things have difficult terrain imposed upon you. What do you do?
I'll take out well, seeing as how my feet get sticky, I'm not really guaranteed that my feet will keep not sticking. I'll engage the closest one to remove this feet stickiness. As I don't really know how to attack it, there's a lot of jaws, and I remember the last thing that happened with stuff with teeth, and I punched it.
Mm-hmm.
It was sticky. So, Jaren thinks about this for a moment, and then seeing the top of its head, not really going for a punch, but more for an upwards, sort of skyward karate chop. Try to beat it down into a pulp.
All right, give me that
Cry
strike.
chop, cry chop.
Ooh, as both those
Right on
strikes
its head.
connect, you see this thing is like a
Whatever
large,
its head is.
oblong, almost like a amoebic thing. Its form constantly shifts around. You see like tendrils form out to form like facsimiles of limbs to pull itself closer, very slowly. But it doesn't seem to be really trying to stop your attacks, as both will connect very easily, striking to the goo. You feel connection as if where the mass of the blood gets hit, it's like a solid piece of meat. As you do connect with both blows. But as you do, you see chunks of this thing go flying across the room and spat on the ground as puddles before they melt into this ever-growing puddle around it. As although you do a considerable amount of damage, those that should punch, should knock a dude out maybe 1 or 2 hits. Seems like this guy is still quite hardy.
Nothing is natural in this dungeon. I don't like this place. Gregory, go beat them up. How far away is this guy? I can take him. Scooting on over to Quill, sort of. Do I have to make another strength save?
Nope, you are fine. You're walking across the ground like...
Okay.
The ground's sort of
Difficult
pulling up
terrain.
at your feet,
Because
but
I
you're able to
entered,
just
I
run
entered
across.
into the new gibberings thingy.
Nope,
so
it's all. It seems to be all one big puddle.
It's all relative. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Squish, squish, squish. So sticking my feet to it, but my natural inline dexterity is able to keep me going on, as I'll use a bonus action to make one unarmed strike. Martial arts this dude. Okay, martial arts.
Yeah.
As
again,
another upward karate chop.
As it seems like, again, these
Downward.
creatures are not quite mobile. They're not even trying to stop you from hitting them. They're just lurching towards you guys. As you chop another piece of this thing off, it hits the ground, turns into a puddle. But you still do some considerable damage to it. But it continues to loom and move.
And there's a smart thing, and then I go disengage. I mean, I already disengaged, but sort of in the same
movement
karate
did you
chop.
use?
You might-
around.
You
You
might
had,
have a.
you had to use like 80 movement to just get to where you were a second ago.
It's difficult terrain, so basically to get where you need, you need to spend about like 30 feet, and then to get
Like
there
55.
would be another one. So like you can make it like about here of sorts.
Yeah, that's close
It'd be-
enough.
Yeah.
Because you were there to start with, right?
Yeah. So you make about to get to the edge of it. You see you're getting close to the edge of the puddle, but you're still quite in it. It seems like the stuff though you are not able to be stuck by it. It's still pulling at your feet and slowing your steps.
So you're
So
like
just
here,
like-
because it would be like 10, 20, 30, 40.
I'd say you're just about here for the sake of expediency. Is that your turn, Javen?
Yes, sir.
All right, as Gregory, you find yourself, the feet getting puddled against this great liquid, but just by lifting your foot with your great strength, you're able to unstick yourself, basically because you can't fail your saving throw, but that sound, that gibbering speaking, already the madness filling this place, I'm going to need a wisdom saving throw.
Help! Oof.
Ooh, as you're pulling your mind together, it just seems like these voices, this madness spreading throughout your mind is just growing and growing, and the rage seems to be building, just trying to fight it. But fortunately for you, you're able to catch your breath and just barely keep your mind together. You're focused back on your task.
Yes. Seeing the situation in this room, seeing my fatigue starting to wash over me, but trying to stay out of this horrible fucking circle, and now my fucking fear of whatever the hell it might be and trying to protect myself, I've gotten separated from all the people that we need to protect. So Craig just, his anger starts to roil more in himself than anything else. As he just rips his feet up out of this fucking blood and starts charging forward, trying to hack at this horrible thing that Javen pounded into a second ago, trying to just tear it to pieces, as that's exactly what he's doing, just striking with all his might as he works himself up into a rage, even though the fatigue is going to be taking over soon. As
Give
he
me
just
a
tries
wisdom
to
saving throw if you're raging.
strike in as hard as he can.
Again, your mind starts to be taken over. You feel that horrible boiling again. This time it seems like it's about to break forth, but with your breath sort of bated, you're just left with this sort of roiling, bubbling growl. But you're able to keep your mind about you.
And so just sort of half charged through this shit as I just cleave down on this smaller creature, trying to just obliterate its body, attacking recklessly, just trying to cut himself a path to Luna and Samantha.
Sure. Give me those attacks.
17 hit.
17 will hit.
Carve into its body.
As the sword comes ripping through, you see all these opening, created new mouths get ripped apart. Even some of the eyes get split by the edge of your sword as you do a hefty amount of damage. Just carving through a big chunk of it. It splits in half, and part of it just seems to into blood. While the other part of it starts to rise back up to meet you.
I just carve into its body downwards. I slice the other way as I just use the momentum of my blade to almost spin my entire body around as I strike into it again.
Ooh, a
Double
13 will also connect.
Ooh, nice. I just carve into it the other way.
As you swing your blade, you slice down and tear through teeth and mouths as this thing gets ripped and torn to shreds. That's how do you want to kill it?
I just tear it basically tear half of it to pieces with the first chop and bring it back around the base as I see it sort of like collating up from this blood. I try to just chop it off at the root like a fucking terrible shrub as I just cleave across the bottom of it, trying to cut off every single last little tendril that makes up its body as I just whirl my body around, stumble a few seconds before just charging forwards past it and towards the rest of the group. As with a little bit of burst of speed, I think I can make it there.
As Gregory, go back where you were real quick just to make sure. Up to here, there you are. Yeah, as you cut this thing down, the blood spatters all across the ground. You can feel that pulling and tugging at your leg seem to quell and fade as this thing sort of scatters out into a big, gross puddle and is no more, and your feet are free. You're getting a little extra movement.
I stumble as the release of pressure on my feet eases up as I just charge full force into the mix of these things, getting in between these creatures. As I just scream up into these things as I start charging forth, and that's my turn.
Alright. This large looming creature, Luna, looming its body over yours. You can see these long masses of blood beginning to coagulate and twist into these like writhing tendrils of tissue as one after another they begin to pound down on top of you. One strike, 15. And that doesn't do it.
Not hit.
As it slams down next to you, spattering blood across the ground. Another one striking down at you again. A 26.
I will hit.
As this one comes smashing down.
Oh no, how does my thing work again? Does she
If a
need to be
creature-
in range?
If the monster has to be. It's sort of the opposite of protection. This thing is attacking within 5 feet of you. As the thing comes swinging down, fortunately you pull yourself just out of the way close enough before the mass of this thing strikes you in the side as you take 9 bludgeoning damage. But you are within 5 feet of this creature, Greg, and you feel the magic of your sword pulling you.
Another one. No.
You can either impose disadvantage or you can attack it in return.
Okay, so I do not need to be near an ally. Well, I messed that up. But I will strike it back in return, as I was too slow to try to protect Luna, not quite sure where this thing was going to strike out at. I see it focusing its attention on it, and I'm just too slow to defend her, but I do try to just carve into the side of it with my blade. Damn it.
Alright, give me that swing.
Try to carve into it.
Ooh, it's an 18, will connect.
Just carve into its side, trying to get its attention.
Nice. As the blade comes swinging through its body, you can see it's carving and slick. It seems like, again, these things are liquid at one moment, but then when you carve them, they almost turn solid, maybe by the magic of your blade. As you rip through their form, you see this thing writhe and twist immediately in response. This, like, it doesn't make much sound, but it's a clackling of teeth and the squishing of bloody tissue seems to resound out as he takes... Nice. A big chunk of its own flesh seems to pour out, but it still seems to be quite strong. But that is all it can do as it seems to pull itself, try to get closer to you, Luna, but only just lurching forward, trying to shadow itself over you. But after Gregory's strike sort of curves into its body, it sort of pulls itself closer to both of you, as it seems to be trying to survey which next target it to take. But Luna, it's on you. You just took a hefty blow to your side, and you're still standing, though. You still got fight in you. What do you do? Actually, Luna, give me a... pulling away to the side, you hit your feet sort of plant on the ground, and you feel that squishing, a sensation as this liquid starts to pour up your feet. Give me a strength saving throw. You are within 10 feet of Gregory.
So
Yeah.
that's 15.
Yeah, as
Battle
you're
presence.
basically about to step down, you can feel this stuff lifting up your leg, and you're pulling your feet away, and you cannot move. But then you see Gregory's sword come swinging through this creature, and almost inspired by him, that magic pouring over you, you're able to lift your foot off the ground with equal strength and tear yourself away, as you are not held still, but you are able to continue to move across the ground with difficult terrain, but I'll also need a wisdom saving throw, as this chattering and gibbering continues to sound throughout the room. Ooh, but this time as you do, the sound begins to fill your head until they all become this chorus of madness. As, let's see,
But then you hear, "Ah!"
and your ears begin to ring, Luna, and your mind begins to sort of dull. As, let's see, it seems like you are just instinctively forced to run. You don't know which direction you need to move in. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
She got an 11.
Oh, yeah, I got an 11.
Oh, you're right.
Got you.
That's true. Well, then you don't. You're able to keep your mind together. Gregory's screaming, rattling your mind back in place as you are, in fact, kept sane. But your movement's still going to be some slowed because you are in some difficult terrain right now. What do you do?
I will disengage. Gregory has this. I believe her. How many feet of movement would that be? That'd be
20 feet of movement. Mm-hmm.
And then can I go here for 25 or for 30?
That'd be 10. You're basically stepping from one side to the other, still somewhat halfway in the goo, so it'd be 30 feet of movement.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I'll just go there for 30 feet and then use 2 sorcery points to firebolt the big guy.
All right. Give me that attack. Ooh! As that will connect, this bolt of fire flying right into that open wound that Gregory carved, doing considerable amount of damage. The fire bursts into its body and then seems to sort of subside as it seems like part of its body begins to coagulate, this dark red spot. As that bolt does connect, a considerable amount of flame bashing into its form, but its body is somewhat semi-liquid, as it seems like it absorbs a little bit of the damage.
That's not really my turn.
All right, Samantha, you see this massive thing looming over, trying to crush Luna, but Gregory seems to accost it, and these other chattering, gibbering, and chomping things seem to be looming closer to your allies. Actually, Samantha, give me a wisdom saving throw, as despite not being in the puddles of blood, you still hear this gibbering sound rattling in your ears. It's annoying at the very least, but you're trying not to let it get to your head. You get to get into your mind. But just able to shake it off. It's more just a nuisance than anything.
Tired of every single thing that I want to investigate causing another bloody problem. There's
Bloody hell.
yeah, just seeing this this fleshy tissue mound itself against Gregory, I just conjure forth my green bow once again, forming up 2 bolts and fusing them with my malice as a bonus action. So
All right.
put both bolts into the big dude.
Nice. As the first strike comes flying towards it, you see its body still torn and ripped, but it pulls itself up, and a big old hole opens. The bolt goes woof, flying right through. It seems like it just barely missed him, but the second one poof, batters into its body as it starts to lurch forward. Taking considerable amount of magical damage, as it seems like this body, despite being somewhat resistant to most physical and brute damage, it seems like your magic is able to pull away some of its life force quite considerably.
As I will not push it.
Okay. Sort of
Con save.
loom to and fro. It's sitting there looming to and fro. As you can see, some of the dark red matter beginning to sort of pulse with like these veins of black. As in like it's might take effect. As you can see some of the dark blood turning dark and black around that cauterized wound that Luna gave it. As it seemed like it's somewhat sickened.
That's it for me, baby.
All right, Persephone, you see these massive things pulling towards you, and then your mind begins to shiver and ache. It's almost like a headache as these voices are just echoing and echoing and echoing throughout this hallway. Give me a wisdom saving throw. But fortunately, although it's starting to affect you at first, you're able to shake it off. You've handled such weird, strange, twisted, understanding thoughts in your mind before, and you're able to cast them away. Unaffected.
I'm still holding this fiery flower in my hand. I blow the petals, leaves flying towards this monster as I attack it with my produced flame.
Nice. As you throw this burst of fire towards this mat, throwing at the big boy.
Yeah, big boy.
All right, as that will also connect, as this creature is being battered and buffeted by all these attacks. That will strike into its body again, hitting another spot, and the body seems to toughen and coagulate around that wound, but not quite as effective as it should be. This creature is somewhat liquid in form.
Everybody getting their spell power.
Yeah, everybody's getting
Cantrip.
their spell power.
Everyone's
All right.
maxing.
That's gonna be my turn.
All right. As next to you, Quill, this mass of mouths and eyes seems to swarm closer to you, sort of pulling itself around here, just trying to get like to almost a flanking spot. Its body seems to ooze and twist. as it gets just about here, not quite fast, but immediately it starts to lurch and try to loom over you as about 6 different mouths are trying to connect to your body. It's slow, but the trick is trying to find where to defend first. As you don't defend against this, it's going to be some heavy damage for you. Ooh, a 20. As all these teeth begin to bear down, you push back one, and then teeth bear here, teeth bear here, tearing and ripping away at you. You're able to keep your feet as you're not going to be pulled away by this thing's strength, but you feel a number of sharp fangs dig in as you take 13 piercing damage.
Oof.
Nice. As Quill, it comes to you, the ground beneath your feet sticky and wet, but you're able to Yep, the ground sticky beneath your feet, just at the edge of your strength, but with a bit of force, you pull your feet up, unable to be stuck by the ground, but your mind is still being racked by these things' loud, gibbering mouths. Give me a wisdom saving throw. Ooh, but you shake your head away. Experience, you've heard the calls and cries and dismantling of battle in your ears. You're not going to be so easily shaken or maddened by its effects.
We're so good at not going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
As he watches this thing sort of just swarmed around him, and seeing that Gregory is also charging in, Quill starts to do the same, sort of maneuvering himself, pulling away from these biting teeth ever so slightly as he maneuvers himself around this biting creature to get himself in between this gigantic mass of flesh and the thing just biting out at him, trying to distract it so it doesn't go after the rest of the group, as he will strike out. Seems like everyone is just pummeling into this gigantic creature in the center. Will thinks maybe they know something he doesn't, and why we're all killing this one thing, but he's not about to just try to hack away at this other thing for no reason, so he is going after a big man as well, as he positions himself, shield up, as he just strikes out to his side twice, trying to carve into this monstrous creature.
Alright, give me an attack roll. Ooh, the first strike swinging out into the blood, you catch into the material, and then it seems like some of the coagulated spots actually offer extra defense against your sword, as that will not connect.
He just tries to carve back out the other direction with a little bit more better shot.
Using a bit more oomph, actually getting into some of the soft flesh, but it seems to almost coagulate around your blade, and you slide your sword out, and you see blood spill from it, and you're excited for a second, and you realize, oh, shit, this thing's made of blood, as that will not connect, just barely missing.
John will not want me playing Quill anymore, as he just raises up his shield and sword as he watches this horrible thing of gibbering mouths just writhe on the ground, that possibly if it tries going after Javen or tries to swarm around him again, he'll may be able to catch it unawares as he takes up his frontline fighting style. That's him.
Nice. As this mouthing creature, Luna, you're just pulling yourself away from it, as it seems to be pulling itself a bit closer between you guys, very slowly doing so, almost oozing closer. But now it seems to have eyes fixed on you, mouths sort of snapping your direction. It seems like the bulk of it's actually heading in a straight line towards its new quarry. As Persephone, this thing, very slowly but surely, is trying to ooze around you, several mouths trying to sink their teeth into your body.
Yeah, no.
18.
Oh yeah, that just gets me.
You raise your shield against the teeth, and you see you catch it back for a second, but then the thing oozes around you, and like 6 different mouths catch into your shoulder, your stomach, almost one of them into your arm, trying to consume it, as you're going to take 16 piercing damage. And give me a strength saving throw as this weight starts to press down upon you.
Oh no!
And as it does, it pours backwards, and then poof, onto your back you go, Persephone, as you are knocked prone as this thing continues to chew on you.
Thankfully, I have 7 temp hit points.
Heck yeah.
What was it? Total 16?
16 piercing damage.
Just give us a second. We'll get you out of there.
Alright, and this creature here continue to loom over, seeing these sparks of magic fly. It seems like it's also looming closer to its new quarry as Samantha, it is coming after you. Teeth roiled and expanded, trying to just consume you in its many mouths. Trying to choose which one it wants to do it with.
Coming after me, I bite it on the way over.
Alright. Gotta attack first. 18. Does an 18 connect?
Yeah.
As the teeth catch into your side again, you're trying to ready your magic. This thing twists in an unusual way and catches you on the legs and the arms, as it sinks in and does 14 piercing damage into your body. As I'm going to need a strength saving throw as this thing tries to recoil and reel from your serpent bites. Let's see. Ooh. As this thing begins to bite, you can see some of the teeth beginning to clatter out of its mouth. It seems like it's losing some of its own ability to chomp and bite down, as it is sickened. But give
Really
me a
wish I
strength
had
saving throw,
priority on
Samantha. Ooh, but fortunately, as you find your footing, this thing recoils back from the poison that you injected it with. It pulls away just enough for you to keep your strength on your feet, and you do not fall prone. Alrighty. As Javen, it comes back to you. You see, although you move to the edge of the puddle, this thing pulls itself, and as it does, it seems like the puddle of blood that spilled out from the container is actually moving with it, surrounding it almost like a little aura of sorts, sort of crawling across the ground with little teeth claws. As you're back inside of it, I'm going to need a strength saving throw.
Strength saving throw.
Teeth
Yeah,
claws.
again, not letting yourself be stuck in so easily. The ground starts to move up your feet, and you quickly and strongly move yourself away. Not getting stuck, but again, it's difficult terrain. But still, your ears begin to ring and rattle with the sound of these chattering teeth. As I'm going to need a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save.
Ooh, you feel like this time as you turn to face these creatures, some of the eyes are turning to face you, and the mouths are speaking directly in your direction, and you start to lift up your hands and hold your ears, just trying to make all the voices stop, but then you just shake your head, barely able to contain yourself, as you barely make it.
Sick. Nice. Even nope, I'm okay. Almost letting the voices overwhelm him there for a moment. Oh. Squish his way up to this gibbering blah blah blah, and give it a less than love tap.
Alright.
Full voice!
Ooh, again, this thing is slow moving, so even though your strike may not have the greatest precision, this thing just crushes into its body, and it takes a considerable amount of damage as you hit it.
Yeah, get dunked on.
As you punch into its body, you see a number of its teeth and eyes go spattering out of its form, leaving a big hole in it. You can see Quill through it.
Sick. Using this opportunity to hang on.
What are you doing, baby?
Swing my way to the big old blood thing. Big. Seems to be a defining characteristic, as I'll give one smacky smack.
Ooh. As you find this
Nice.
thing, its body coagulated together, not really able to avoid you, you reel back and strike it from behind and find a good solid point to punch and break into its defenses, as that will connect.
And as I'm breaking to its defenses, I think this feels a bit thematically appropriate. Crit and all, stunning strike it.
Nice. Ooh, as you punch a big chunk into this thing, you see one of the coagulated pieces catching Quill's sword gets punched out of its body, leaving a hole in it as it seems like your key seems to pulse and run through its form. Let's see.
Visible ruptures.
What's your save, David?
I think it's 15, so I think he just makes it.
As you
Oh,
see,
no.
like, you see the energy
wait.
rippling. Oh. Let's check, baby.
No, I
have
think it's actually
18.
14. That's actually 14.
As the energy ripples through its body, you see it shaking as a response to your magic, but then you realize it's the energy moving through the force of your great punch, literally rippling the liquid parts of its body as the rippling stops and it continues to move, although slowly and weakened by its new sickened state, as it is not stunned.
Darn.
Anything else you want to do?
Measure movement. So this will take. Oh wait.
That's 30. Getting pretty close.
Pretty clse.
Yep, you came from here, so that's 20. Came from here, that's 30. Get here, it'd be about 40 to get out of it. And then you'd be back to normal terrain. So what are you trying to do, baby?
Trying to move around this guy, although I Does he turn his attention towards me?
It seems like his body is starting to shape and twist around. He's got Gregory accosting one side, Quill on the other, and now you here. It seems like he's trying to twist his form to face all of you at once, which is somewhat possible considering his liquid form.
That's pretty weird.
Gotta say, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, kind of weird as I'll sort of drop my weight down, focusing all the tension into my legs as I'll do one large sort of backwards bicycle kick. Or not bicycle kick, but just one big skyward kick. So using the momentum to flurry of blows, as I use a key point.
Nice. Ooh, as that will connect.
Yeah. Bopped.
Bopped, he gets indeed as you catch into another solid point in again. Give me another strike with that flurry of blows.
And it's using the moment.
Are you taking the big guy?
Yes.
I don't think 13 will hit big guy.
Oh, you're right. I thought you were taking a little guy. As your punch strikes into this body, hitting the rippling force, and it seems to continue to wiggle, you find a solid point in that coagulated body, but it doesn't seem like it's quite able to land in this thing.
Nice. But using the momentum. That was the attack.
Gonna go with the
In that-
flow.
Hey.
10-foot
nice.
wind. Just barely.
Nice. As
Make it to
a,
this guy.
using that momentum to pull yourself out of the goo and then land on the other side, giving yourself a bit more room and a mobility to move until you jump back into the fray.
Yep.
Back into the goo.
With one more attack.
Ooh, as that will definitely connect. Catching into the soft body, doing 6 damage as you punch off the top of this thing. Sort of striking off where the head should be, but it still seems to be looming over, it looks like Samantha's position.
Nice, but that's all I got.
Alrighty,
It's my
as
turn.
Gregory, you find yourself somewhat stuck to the side of this goo, but you're away from it enough and strong enough you can just ignore it as you lift your foot up to keep it away from you. But your mind still continues to get wrapped and rattled by this chanting of voices and gibbering mouths. Give me a wisdom saving throw. Oof. As you're holding yourself together, your rage sort of gathering in your mind, you start to almost lose yourself in it, Gregory. And suddenly, like everything seems to dull, the smell of blood filling the air, and you'll lose yourself for just a moment in this madness, this terrible, mind-boggling place. As Gregory, you just have to swing your sword right the fuck now. And I'd say the closest one.
Am I in range of Javen?
Technically, randomly, roll me a high or low.
Oh boy.
Gregory's feeling real low right now.
Okay. And
Hey!
low. As you see right in front of you with the bloodlust on your mind, the first thing you want to cut down is this big mass of blood.
Yeah, I'm fucking fighting off this thing, seeing Persephone getting overwhelmed by these horrible mouths as I start to put my sword up to defend myself. The fucking voices just start eating in my mind. God damn it! Shut the hell up! God damn it! As I just turn and start carving into this fucking thing, not really even knowing where the voices are coming from because they're just echoing in all directions. So I start carving into the motherfucker with everything I got, attacking recklessly.
One single attack.
Ah!
Ooh, as that will connect, just carving your blade into this thing's massive body, getting some catharsis out of this terrible place. You can see the blade sink halfway into its form and rip through all the, basically the coagulated flesh. As you do, tear into this thing. Nice. But at the madness, you're just watching this thing bleed as you can neither move nor take any more actions. Just watching this thing bleed out in front of you.
I'll just grip onto my head with my other hand as I release my sword. God damn it! Shut the hell up! Just shut the hell up! Me?
As this thing, weakened in its sickened state, blood pooling from one side of it, having been carved into deeply by one of the creatures in front of it. You can see its large arms lifting up. Gregory, in this moment, you're holding your head, just trying to overcome this madness. It seems like you left yourself somewhat open. As although this thing is sickened, it's going to strike it down at you twice with normal attacks. Ooh, one of them slamming on the ground as it tries to swing down. Its body, with that carve in its midsection, causes it to lose some of its mass and shift its weight as it slams down right next to you. But the other one comes down as well. 27. Ooh, one coming straight down on top of you, Gregory. Fortunately, you are raging as you see this great weight crash down on top of you. You take a considerable amount of damage. As, ooh, you take 20 damage, cut in half to 10. your anger keeping you on your feet, but still a hearty blow.
The first hand coming down, I just reach up an arm and just bash it off to one side as the other one just catches me hard on the shoulder, just sort of lowering my body like 2 or 3 inches as it knocks me off balance, but I just shoulder it away. Son of a bitch.
This thing only manages to pull itself away from this open flask. It's about here, as it seems to be very slow moving. It seems to
Not
be
so
lurching.
fast. As Quildor
Yeah.
strikes out at it.
Give me that cut, Quildor.
Where's your character sheet? Wah!
Ooh, as this time you find purchase in your blow, Quill. As how do you stop this thing from moving?
As you can see the sort of tendrils like pulling off away from this blood and pulling itself across as he stabs down into the side of it and pulls and turns the blade sideways and actually pulls it out of the body. These tendrils get stuck on the blade and just start like pulling and dragging out the backside of it, just sort of pulling its attention. Not really sure if it's enough to stop it, but still enough to pull its attention away from whatever the fuck it's going.
With almost like tethering it for a moment, the sword stuck to the tendrils. You pull, and then this thing's mouth seems to retract into its body and almost move through its form and open up near Quill as it seems to turn its attention towards the night. As Luna, we come to you in this puddling blood. It seems like as you pulled away from it, as these things loom and squirm closer, the blood follows them. It's like I'm gonna need another strength saving throw. Ooh, but this time you're not letting yourself get stuck by this disgusting blood. Able to rip your feet off of this thing and keep yourself from being completely stopped. But you are going to be a bit slowed through difficult terrain. But again, this thing's voice, these voices cascading all across the walls, echoing to and fro. I'm going to need a wisdom saving throw from what you can do. Ooh, but you're keeping your mind about you, unable to be phased. What do you do on your turn, Luna?
It like fucking sings as I'm just gonna walk away. Not disengage, I'm just gonna walk away. Good luck,
Okay,
guys.
this thing's going to try and snap at you. A couple of the mouths reaching out, trying to catch onto you. Ah, ooh, a 13. I'm assuming that won't do it.
Nope.
That is slow and cumbersome, but you're able to walk just away from it. Although it does take a bit of your movement to get away. It's about 20. That's about, yeah, it's about, well, that's 10. And then out here be 20, and then here is 20.
Yes, I will firebolt the creature that just tried to bite me.
All right. As easily enough, bolt of fire comes flying across the area, strikes into this thing, hitting it square in its body, doing a good amount of damage. Although, again, its massive form continues to reform all the damage it takes, returning back to a state of constant fight.
Yeah, that would be my turn.
All right, Samantha, you felt these teeth sink into your side, and it seems like you sickened this thing with some of your poison, but it still seems to be looming towards you slowly but surely.
Do I need to make a save at the start of my turn?
No.
Wisdom boys?
Constitution saving throw against the roll left slaughter poison until the end of your next turn.
No,
So
it's
she
gibbering.
needed-
Samantha.
Oh yeah, making sure. As your feet are getting pulled stuck to the ground, these tendrils, these tiny little teeth crawling up your feet, you need a strength saving throw. These things are trying to hold you still.
No, what? I'm just trying to see if it's gibbering at me.
It's gibbering. They're all making noises.
Gotta do your strength first.
Yep, you
Oh.
strength, and then you do your mind. That's how I've been doing it. Yep, as you pull your foot away, your foot gets stuck, and you realize this stuff's moving up along your legs. As for the rest of your turn, you have 0 movement. Just give me a wisdom saving throw as the echoes are, as the voices are echoing all around you. But again, just a headache you can shake away.
Don't need to move. As, I am going to... Yeah, just feeling myself restrained, feeling my my movement taken away from me. Samantha's just gonna grip her hand on her scepter, pulling more magic from it, and just channeling this green energy up her body, up to her head, almost forming into this sort of spectral headdress, it looks like, as this energy just begins to course through all of her snakes and over her mouth, as just these massive spectral fangs seem to form in her mouth and on her snakes as she just reaches down with all of them at once and just bites into this thing. As I am going to cast, for the first time, Serpent's Bite.
Oh.
Give me that spell attack.
26.
Ooh, 26. As just strangely enough, this thing doesn't really move much. You bite it back, these fangs sinking down into its body. Give me that damage roll. Ooh. Are you up, Kat? Oh yeah, because you're a warlock. Nice. As the energy just pours into its body, you see it writhing, and you see like these black tendrils and like veins moving through its form, showing that it is taking a hefty amount of this damage. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Seeing it
As it begins to
recoil.
writhe. Some of the gibbering still continuing, but somewhat sickeningly, as he's got to make another con save. Let's see. Nice. Ooh, and this time
Nice.
that bite was deep into its body. It is still sickened, if not more so than before.
Seeing it recoil from that, Samantha's gonna take this opportunity to reach down, magic coursing over her head, and grab a hold of her whip and just whoosh, crack into the side of it as a bonus action. Empowered by the magic coursing over her.
Ooh.
And since it's the
Nice.
5th level or higher, I can make a single melee weapon attack. Get whipped!
Nice. Pulling out your whip and whoosh, catching into this thing already in sickened form. You clash into the flesh and you see blood spray from its form as that does connect, although it seems like you're causing flesh wounds to a creature that's almost entirely made of loose liquid flesh. It does writhe in pain, though.
Good. As that is it for me.
Alrighty. Persephone, you find yourself on your back, trying to pull yourself up, and you feel that stickiness on your back and on the back of your hair. Give me a strength saving throw. Oh, but fortunately, you start pulling. You feel this terrible strain on your hair, but you're able to pull yourself up off the ground, or you have movement now. Still difficult terrain, but you're still on your back. It's not pulling you and sticking to the ground like Samantha is currently, as you have movement.
All right.
But your ears begin to ring. Oh God, can you even withstand it? Give me a wisdom saving throw. As again, shake your head, and suddenly your ears begin to return to you, and yeah. Thankfully, these sounds are beginning to become dull to your ears. Now you're able to withstand it.
With this thing above me, I'm going to quickly rise to my feet and just lash out at it with my thorn whip. Just trying to cut it apart.
As that will connect, your thorns ripping and wrapping around this thing and tearing as the blood spray from its form as you unravel this thorn whip across its body. As, yeah, that will connect. You see blood spattering and hitting the ground and filling more of this puddle around your feet.
Thornwood's a melee attack, isn't it?
Mhm.
It is.
Super neato.
30-foot melee attack.
Yeah.
Not bad.
30-foot melee.
Don't get no disadvantage when people up in your face.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be my turn.
All right, as Quill, this creature that you're sort of keeping your back to but keeping your shield in between, is going to continue to writhe itself towards you, seeming to get around this side. Oozing to one side, trying to wrap itself around you with another large but slow attack.
So try to strike it again as it tries to circle around him, making sure it doesn't get any closer to his buddy.
Giving a reaction. Yeah, as you cut into its form, ripping. It doesn't quite slow its movement down, but you do considerably cut its body as it tries to strike at you. I'm assuming a 19 won't connect.
Not quite. He's
Ooh.
just able to get the shield back around as he sort of fights the goo underneath his feet as he spins his body, putting his shield up as the teeth just clamber all
Across the armor. All you can do, Quill, it comes back to you. Your attention was on this big thing, but then it twists this other creature now trying to clamber on top of you. What do you
trying
do?
to just twist his footwork back around, now facing the group as all these things are slowly making their way away from him, but maybe he can put it into this as he is going to strike out at the back of this gigantic creature, just trying to find a place of contact that will actually do some, as it seems to be wavering a bit. Striking out twice against Big Boy. Whoosh, whoosh.
As both those cuts come out, the first one ripping into the flesh, finally finding, with this wounded state, a good place to land on this creature. And the second strike cuts deeper, and you can see you cut through almost all the tendrils, and it's already torn up midsection. And this thing just sort of hits the ground. Hits so hard that the tissue sort of bubbles and batters, and you can see it just begin to puddle out into its own gooey mess.
Well, Kulganar got 2 boss kills today, so that's fine.
Oh my God.
As he continues to start circling back around this thing, and
Give me a wisdom saving throw as this thing's still chattering in your teeth. Your feet
Oh,
are
yeah,
able...
shit.
I forgot about that. Let's do it. You should probably be fine. Ooh.
Ruh-roh!
As we reverse time,
Ruh-roh!
this creature is still standing before you, twisting its form against you.
Oh, wait.
Don't mind.
Wait,
Oh.
feeling the need to strike this creature down! He feels indomitable!
Ooh.
Ah!
Hey! Time
And then-
goes back
then-
to normal.
Time speeds up real quick and we go back to where we were.
As you do cut
God.
this thing down, reducing it to a pitiful little puddle of teeth and claws. But again, you're able to rip your way through this blood, although a difficult terrain. There we go. Just about 5
Slowly
feet.
circles around. He realizes he can't quite catch up with the group, but at least he can keep this thing from getting to them as he just circles back around, uses his bonus action to take up his defensive position again to make sure this thing won't get anywhere. That's him.
Alrighty, Quill, you cut this thing down, the largest of them gone. Now just to clean up the rest of this mess. As one of these creatures, Persephone, you rip it apart with your thorn whip, but instead it pulls itself a little closer towards you and starts to loom again once more, trying to bite into you. 19.
Yeah.
As again, you reel back your thorn whip, and you can see some of the goo pulling along your whip actually coalesce along your arm and distract you for just a moment, and then the rest of its body starts to loom forward, and it catches you. As you take 16 piercing damage.
And strength save.
And you need a strength save as the thing continues to push itself upon you, but this time, you're able to keep your footing. You know how heavy these things are and how they push upon you. You're not going to let yourself fall back down to that sticky goo.
Alright.
That's all it can basically do. This creature here is sickened and twisted, still continuing to try and consume this already bloodied creature in front of it. It's going to attack at you, Samantha, with disadvantage, although you can see some of its teeth falling out of its mouth already. It's hard-pressed to try and catch you. 5 won't do it as teeth start to clatter around your body. Its ooze form moves towards you, but sort of puddles at your feet before rising back up, unable to do as it wishes. As you come back to Javen again, running to the thick of this puddle, your feet begin to stick and almost tacky to the ground. I'm gonna need a strength saving throw.
Squish.
Nope, but not letting it slow you down at all. It's too fast to let this ground cling to you, but again, your mind begins to rattle as these voices call out to you, chattering and gibbering all around as I need a wisdom save.
That make 2?
Just one wisdom save. It's one collective thing I'm doing.
Oh.
Ooh, but as you're doing so, you're running. Actually, nope. Behind you, you hear Gregory calling out, roaring in
Oh, yeah,
confusion
Gregory's
as your
weird.
mind begins keeping itself together.
My
you can't.
voices take over my head, but Gregory's voice is louder.
Yeah, you got a boy to take care of. He's not right. As you start running down to fight these things,
That boy ain't right.
as you are not maddened. What do you want to do on your turn?
Pull the shotgun out.
Okay.
I mean, he's right behind me, so shh. It's okay, Gregory.
Oh my god.
I was
Look at the
able to
flowers.
position myself. Yeah, good night. Look at me in the eye, Samantha. Look at it. As one punch going to the guy on the left, one punch going to the guy on the right. And I'll use a key point. Go left, right, bah, 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 bah. 4 attacks.
All right. Left, right. Ooh, that'll connect.
Wow,
Ooh, that'll connect. That'll connect.
sick.
And that'll connect. All right. As all those will connect. Give me those damages. Left. 9.
Eh.
Right.
Now I clicked it one more time.
Okay, I got you, baby. Left
Oh god.
and right. Uh-oh. That's
I
fine.
did negative damage.
As both strikes battering into this thing, you see Samantha and Persephone in front of you, these creatures that are attacking you, getting holes punched in them by Javen's quick fists, as these things are being worn down bit by bit.
That's all I got.
Alright, Gregory, you see this massive thing fall to the ground before you, but still that shabbering in your ear continues to rise and rise as you're trying to keep your mind together. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh my goddamn ears!
Able to keep yourself aligned.
I see Javen start to charge forth as my fucking vision starts to clear a bit, as the echoing in my mind starts to clear. As I just chase right after him as he starts pummeling into these things, one, then the other, then the other, then the other. I am just immediately following up with a strike with my sword on the one right as his fist leaves, just trying to cleave this thing to pieces, get it away from Persephone. With just the rage is taking over there. I'm striking with everything I got. as I'm recklessly. Ooh, that's not gonna do it though.
Oh, as you swing your sword, this thing already has holes punched into it. As it sort of readjusts itself to fit those holes, the form shifts suddenly, and the sword swings in the air, just 5 feet in front of you, Persephone.
Yeah, I just swing downward, sort of across the top of it as it just sinks down. As I just turn the. What?
Where's your proficiency?
What?
Is it on there? Is your proficiency? I'm seeing a solemn great weapon. Okay, you're right. Never mind. I'm done.
Great weapon, man. Yeah.
Brain melted. Keep going.
As I carve across the top of it, just only cutting off tiny little tendrils that don't do anything, I just bring the sword up and slam it right down through the center of this thing, trying to cut it to pieces. 15.
Ooh. As that will connect, swing your sword down, woof, blade hitting the mass of it and, splitting it in half
through the center.
As it does, it spatters against the ground. The force is enough to just spatter this thing to and fro as teeth and eyes go scattering across the ground and melt into a big puddle as this thing is destroyed.
As I pull the blade out, I feel some of the stickiness underneath my feet start to fade as I just take one large step forward and just carve into the side of this last one, assaulting Samantha. My little bonus action. Ooh.
Does that will connect?
Ooh.
How do you want to destroy this thing?
As I just cut into this thing, take a step, and swing wide as I'm basically cutting across the stone right in front of Javen's face as I breathe the sword around and just slicing into this thing and just leaving the sword halfway in as I just shove forward as I just shove the entire mass of this goop away from Samantha back towards these casks.
It spatters against the flasks of this dark liquid, but seems to fall apart, the teeth and eyeballs hitting the ground, and again, the puddle seems to melt into the ground and fade.
As I think I've got 5 more movement left as I just look at Samantha and Persephone just for a moment just to make sure they're alright, and then I just start taking a step slowly back up to Quill to where this next creature is, but that's me.
Alrighty. This thing lays on the ground dead. Luna, outside of their range now, these creatures falling and melting into just the puddles on the ground. You can still hear that chattering in your ears, but it's no longer as accosting or as piercing. Your mind is yours to control. What do you do?
It's a good thing Gregory is so useful as I will firebolt this creature.
Alright, send me that fireball. Ooh, as your aim's a bit off, but you're able to see past Quill's shoulder. Bolt goes flying through the air, and this thing's massive form is writhing in front of you, easily able to strike into it and damage it. Ooh, nicely done. As this bolt of fire crashes into it, you can see a number of eyes and teeth get singed black as a big chunk of it hits the ground and falls and shatters. Oh, that's too much. Ha! Tears away a big chunk of its form.
That's how we went there.
Alright, Samantha, now free from this creature, your fangs still held in your mouth. You see this last one still trying to bite into Quill.
Yeah, magic coursing over all of her snakes and tapping into some of her more savage aspects. Samantha slips forward about 14 feet next to Gregory, seeing this pool of blood and not wanting to be hampered by it. She is going to, at that point, just leap at this thing, jumping to there.
Nice.
Snakes all empowered, her mouth spread wide as just bite, 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 bite. They all connect at the same time and just this
Ooh, as that will
cacophony
connect,
of poisonous
it's sinking
magic.
into its form. As the thing starts to writhe, already it's wounded from the fire. It seems like it could be a more firm bite to grasp onto it. Ooh, see, good damage. As this venom seems to course throughout it, its color actually seems to change from this dark red to like this thick black goo, as it seems like it's almost coagulating before your poison. As it seems like it's barely holding itself together. And, ooh, yep, still sickened.
As I detach my face and hair from it, pulling myself back, spitting to the side, and just whoosh, cracking my whip at it, seeing it recoil away from me.
Alright, give me that attack. As that will also connect. There's only a small part of it left. As whoosh, you crash across the head, you're... As the last little gibber comes out of its mouth and then spatters across the ground as this thing is destroyed. And with that, with blood spattered all over the place, puddled across the ground, you guys find the room growing quiet. No longer this maddened screaming all around you. No more goo mess, crawling across the ground trying to eat you. It just seems like you're left back to the peace of the world. For now.
I am sick of these games! As you see just a slightly different side of Samantha, as it looks like the green magic around her hair begins to retreat and come away from her mouth. We just need to find what it is we need to find in this place and be done with it already, as she seems to almost hesitate in the middle of the sentence as the magic just seems to leave her entirely and she returns to this prim and proper form of herself.
Fuck.
And since it's not concentration, my wonderful butler just floats whatever the fuck that thing is over to me.
It's sitting there just holding in the air very politely.
It's been cradling it underside so it can't fall.
As very gently it folds itself to your hand until you can catch it yourself. As it seems like this small object, as you hold it in your hand, it's cold, but you're looking close at it with some of the candlelight basking over it. It's dark red. It's unmistakable. It's blood contained in a very pristine capsule.
Just pretend it's mud. Just pretend it's mud. Persephone's gonna take out her water skin and try to wash this sticky, gooey substance out of her hair.
Persephone, I'm sorry, but I think we're gonna have to cut it all off.
As Persephone
Granted,
pulls
I could
out her
also
sickle.
I could also just do this. As I snap my fingers, and a giant shadow just comes over and envelops all of Persephone's head as I press the digitation in. I do all the blood.
Oh, and Samantha. As you see Luna just sort of being sly as she always does, clicking her fingers, her magic coursing over Persephone, you feel this chill in your hand as the vial actually seems to react.
How wonderfully macabre. As I just slip past Quill and Gregory. As I'm slipping past Gregory, what's your demeanor? Are you calm again, or are you just gritting your teeth and fucking about to cut the floor open?
When this last thing died, his sword is just on the ground behind him. He's just holding it with one hand as it's just resting on the ground. He's got another hand just on his head, just clenching onto his forehead, but you can see him just slumped, and you just hear this shit. Just this labored fucking breathing. As it seems like he's calm, but it looks like he's fucking tired.
Samantha makes a note of that. Coming over to Luna. Well, I wager this is probably your blood, then, Luna.
No way.
It seemed to react to your calling upon your magic. Got noticeably cold when you enveloped Persephone's head in shadow. Here, as I passed the crystal vial of blood to her.
That must mean... That must be what the Bloodstone was calling you towards, then.
Look at the vial. I think about it, and I realize that all this was literally for fucking nothing, and I eat it into the wall next to me.
Right. The shadow of the vial just shatters. The spatter of blood hits it, and you can see this ripple of darkness run from it, Luna. And as it does, it sort of pulls away for a second and pulls into you. As you feel this cold chill run through you for a second. Oh, it's hard to say. It's like it feels like you just got hit by a cold breeze. But for all intents and purposes, after the fighting you just got through, after the harrowing battle you just won, how closely these teeth just got to you, it seems like you almost got a breath of fresh air. It seems like for maybe just in a strange way, you feel a bit more vitalized.
So you're saying that your parents aren't here?
Nope. Parents aren't here. I don't remember my parents because my father figure decided to just erase my memory about them. And now we're all dying for literally nothing.
Well, Luna, this man had to be stopped.
Yeah, it might not be what we came here for, but now that we're here, we can't leave it alone.
At this point, I'd rather just burn down the entire village and call it a day.
No, don't do that.
I guess that would technically solve the problem, but not really. Samantha sort of looks down at her scepter, seeing the runes etched into the sides of it, only a few of them still glittering with light, and seeing the green gemstone in the mouth of it still shining with this luster. Samantha just kind of connects with that gemstone, that small reservoir, and just uses this moment to pull that magic out of it and infuse it back into her scepter. And she fills it back up to full.
Where now? Where now?
Hoping that was going to be what was binding him to this place, but I doubt it. Though I think that was probably necessary for his experiments. So
East or west?
As Persephone stands in front of the big jar and points at both of the doors towards the sides.
Look out, there's doors here, so I didn't even realize.
yeah, there's more doors. I vote west.
I feel like going east would bring us closer to him. Oh, he could probably just appear literally anywhere at any point.
So I just
West
open
it
the
is.
doors.
Okay. Grabbing the doors, they seem to be unlocked easily enough, pushing them forward, actually pulling them outwards towards you.
Come on, library. Please be full of tomes. Oh, great, it's another
Fine, it looks like a
hallway.
long extended hallway, maybe about like 30 feet or so before it seems to veer off to the side.
I don't
Do
trust
we
that
have any restorative items?
Persephone is our portable apothecary. Do you have anything?
If we cannot rest,
No,
I
we
need to
can't.
tend to my wounds somewhere.
I gave my last basic healing potion to Quill. I have a greater potion of healing, but it's imbued with Liscus, so if anybody has any other diseases to heal that. I have these poultices, but they won't really heal you for very much. They're really only good for covering up small wounds.
I got a potion.
Anything would help.
Toss him a lusty healing.
Thank you.
Boys.
So, yeah, Quill's gonna go ahead and drink that lesser heal.
Okay.
I'm gonna carefully
2d4 plus 2?
Yes, sir.
Hey!
Sick.
Drink it, Quill, and some of the warmth returns to you after these stinging wounds begin to slowly shut. Still blood pooling in them for a moment before finally it all seems to magically coagulate. Still stings, but not gonna kill you.
Tastes pretty earthy too. 'Cause I'm pretty sure this is not Lacosta's potions.
Another altar.
Yeah, because I did buy her out.
You see, it looks like an emptied altar. It looks like there would have been things on there previously, but they have. That looks strangely empty.
Don't touch
come-
it. I don't trust it.
I
No
come
markings
here-
or anything on the surface.
Just some carvings. Looks like some of the other ones, more magical circles and whatnot. But again, somewhat faded. Hard to tell what exactly they're.
Hold on, Persephone. Just sort of just block the hallway with my scepter and just extend my hair around the corner. Full of traps and surprises. I try to peek around the corner and see what I see.
Give me a perception check.
I would imagine so. This was the locked off area of his lair.
With advantage?
Yeah.
I just make every perception check with advantage, to be fair. 4! Nice!
Peek around the corner, one little snake going just around the edge, and you do manage to see it. Like it looks like it maybe continues to a hallway of sorts. You don't see any looming dangers. Just looks like a set of double doors in front of you.
It's a door, boss.
Doors.
Thanks, Cody.
Don't
Cody-
mention it.
Cody's the one that sounds like every time you guys do an impression of like a mom. But like a dude version of that, I guess. Yeah, like the nasally voice that Omen does.
Ah, you
Like-
think
like-
you're so
Yeah.
good, don't
Yeah.
you? Running off without breakfast. Ah, look at you,
Damn
some
it.
big-time adventurers. Yeah, right. Eat your latkes.
You're gonna open this door, Samantha?
Might as well.
All right.
Grab on the door. Seems locked.
Oh, great.
Well, maybe that's a good sign. Is there a keyhole or anything?
It looks like there's like two large handles on there. Looks like it's just if it's unlocked, it's probably from the other side, maybe.
So it's more barred than locked.
Strangely enough, it's probably barred, but it doesn't seem like if there's something like stuck to the other side of it. It just seems like it's some mechanisms holding these things together. Yeah, it feels locked. Like it just feels like some small things keeping it locked. But strangely enough, there's no keyhole on the outside.
Hmm.
Well, fortunately, there's no piano, so I'm pretty sure that's not the solution.
Was there something over there? Where'd you go? I don't see you. Where are you, Luna?
She's on top of you.
Oh.
Oh, am I on top of you? Because I see you like right here.
I just moved there now. Maybe there's like another pillow or something we can connect the stone to, perhaps? Or the skull
Samantha, as you
to?
turn around the corner, you see just this large stone wall, sort of blocking your path. That just comes to a sudden end.
Okay, so there's just a massive stone wall here. Does it look like it's actually coming out of the ceiling? Can I see a gap between the wall and the ceiling?
Not
it-
really. It looks like. Just give me a straight up investigation check. I'm just trying to see where this thing comes from.
14.
Looking around, trying to look for something to really stand out. You're looking up around the walls, and then you look down, and you can see just sort of along the ground, there's like this sort of white scratching across the stonework. It looks like this thing probably comes out of the walls.
Okay, so this is a dead end, but it's not immovable. I think we'll just have to loop back around and go grab that skull while we're at it. It might be maybe useful somewhere else. Yeah, Samantha just doubles back.
Okay. Back around.
You tiring yourself out on this door, Gregory?
I don't even know.
I put my ear to the door. Do I hear anything on the other side?
Give me a perception check. Put your ear. You can't really hear much except for just the slightest soft sound, which sort of gives way to how thin the door actually is. Almost sounds like the soft, maybe just slightest rattling sound, like maybe metal on metal, chains being hung and slowly but surely clattering against each other. Perhaps there's some maybe draft that runs through this place. It seems to be rattling something inside.
There's metal on the other side of this. I don't know what
Metal?
it is.
Metal.
Also, the door doesn't seem to be too terribly thick. I mean,
So should we just break it down? Where did Samantha go?
You see Samantha just like around the corner, looking back. You all coming? What's going on?
Luna says she can hear metal on the other side of the door.
That's a pretty thin door. What was it made out of? Wood?
Looks like it's just made out of wood.
Well, I guess we can just maybe just brute force our way through it, Gregory Quill.
I'm on it. If only I had some kind of long, hard thing that you can use against doors, then...
Wait a second.
As I turn and I look
Right
at Samantha.
now.
Samantha?
She threw it away because the people were mean to her.
I actually always have it on me. Oh.
Maybe
Yeah.
now's time you can finally use that thing that we haven't had to use for months.
You just conjure a mage hand and put it over your mouth.
Not to break contention or anything.
Drop my bag, unfasten it from the very top of it. Ugh. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thing.
I knew it would be
Alright,
useful
Quill,
one day.
on 3, I guess. Yes. Greg and Quill will both take one side of the battering ram.
Okay. Will help action, Gregory or Quill. Give me an athletics check. Actually, give me a
Everyone be
straight.
prepared.
Give me a straight strength check. With your
Straight
+4.
strength.
With a +4 thanks to that battering ram.
We're doing advantage because Quill's helping me, or
Oh,
we
yeah. It's whatever one of you wants to do it with advantage +4.
gotcha.
You didn't want to see the 40 athletics check from Gregory?
It is 17.
Nice. And it seems like, yeah, maybe just trying to find a good place to open this door from this side. Again, there's no locks. You're just gonna open it anyway. And then brute force it is, and you both, Quill, reel back. 1, 2, 3, and you batter this portable ram into the center of this door. You hear the wood splinter, and it just goes flying and shattering into the room surprisingly easily, as it actually catches you guys off guard. And with that strength thrown behind it, you guys sort of stumble in, step first, and you almost fall directly inside of what looks to be, as light pours into the room, a large net webbing of what looks like chains hanging from the ceiling, the walls, in this grand display. As Gregory and Quill, I'm gonna need some acrobatics checks from y'all.
What?
Actually, dexterity saving throw. We'll do dexterity saving.
Gregory sees the fucking chains coming, tries to reach out and grab onto Quill, but not quite quick. Got some advantage on that. 17 feet.
Nice.
Quill! Ooh, Quill's pretty quick on his feet. Elven blood kicking in.
Ooh, as you guys basically are about to step forward, both your bodies sort of hit into these chains as you almost get caught up in them. And as you touch them, you hear this this mechanical sound as the chains immediately start shifting across your body, and then you feel it, Quill and Gregory, this harsh ripping as you realize these chains are spiked. And if you weren't so quick to pull yourself away, they probably would have tangled you up inside them. As each of you takes takes only 3 piercing damage. But you pull yourself away as blood sort of spatters against the ground as you see before you this room basically netted with all these spiked chains across the ceiling and wall, now stopping in their locomotion. And at the end of this hall, you see a soft red glow. It looks like some sort of strange magical circle on the ground that pulses with light and energy. And at the center, a very small, narrow little pedestal with a gemstone resting atop it.
What in the hell is this?
What is it?
Ah,
So I'm trying to.
Careful,
See
Persephone, you don't want to
between them.
push anyone in. It is...
Greg just
awful.
pulls the battering ram off to the side. Will Quill takes a step back and starts lashing his shield back onto his arm.
There's a
I wouldn't go in
gemstone
there if I
there.
was you. Chains are filling that room. They tried to pull us in. Don't get too close.
There's a gemstone. Does it look like it's just resting on top of it?
Looks like it.
Well, let's try tried and true. Everyone be on your guard.
How high up are these chains? Are they like all throughout
They are
vertically, or is there
everywhere.
like?
It is like walking into like a funnel spider's nest, but rather than threads of silk, it's spiked razor chain. As Samantha, you click your fingers, you see within the circle a puff of magic appear for a second and vanish.
I figured as much.
I think we found probably exactly what we could use.
Is that?
A weird circle.
Oh, you don't think? That's Greg as he hears Persh say that, fucking his mind becomes clear for just half a second, the exhaustion muddling his mind, but finally thinking about it as his eyes close for a second and then a light as he tries to see this thing, hoping, praying to hear that soft tune once again. He uses that divine sense.
As your eyes open up, Gregory, and you pick up again that desecration of this place. It seems like as you do that again, you, strangely enough, you've been here for about an hour since you've had your, well, during your rest, and now with your conversations and pressing on, it's getting close to that second hour. You see for a moment that dark, shadowy veil that clung to everything and everyone, slowly but surely, seems to be falling back closer to the ground. The corruption starting to build back up in this environment. But the focus of your senses right now are this object at the end of this tunnel. The chains themselves don't really seem to register as anything, and as you look at the soft light glowing before you, you're looking for, consecration, a sign of holiness. Something, this object that would be used to cast away this great evil. You're not seeing it. You see a glow, but it seems to be the same glow that's been coming off this thing since you entered the room.
No, that ain't. Hell. That ain't it.
It might not be the symbol of Sune, but if it wasn't important, it wouldn't be this heavily guarded.
Oh, it's just another
Need to get
damn
it.
trap. Saying, here's my weakness, come and get it. And you're getting it's just a fucking bob. Wouldn't that be a sick damn joke?
That is really
But it ain't
could be a
holy.
possibility. It could be
I ain't got the pedal of gods in it.
It could be the magic around it is preventing you from seeing that. It did keep me from conjuring forth my mage hand.
Did I see the corruption in that room like I do out?
It seems like it's just about everywhere, yeah?
I see the darkness lingering out here as I do in there. It ain't stopping my eyes. It's just... It ain't hope. I don't know what it is.
Persephone's gonna try to get a scan of the room, looking at where the chains are coming out and trying to just see what's on the walls and floor. Before
Looking around, it looks like the chains are sort of feeding into the wall in almost kind of an impossible way. Like you've seen mechanisms similar to this, like chains fixed into tunnels and walls, usually for dungeons and the like, for lifting and dropping like drawbridges and whatnot. Hard to see where the actual mechanisms begin and end here, but it seems like they sort of run through all this entire room. And we saw when you, Gregory, and Quill touched it, the moment these chains were interacted with, they immediately shifted in place to try and tangle things. It seems like there is just maybe enough space between some parts that one could try to maneuver their body through, although it would take someone pretty limber to do so.
And if magic doesn't work in there, it wouldn't be very easy to get it in the first place.
Does magic not work in there or just the circle? So try to firebolt in there and see if it stops when it gets to the circle or not, or if it gets to.
What are you aiming your firebolt at?
I just try to aim it at the thing, but try to like maneuver it around the chains. Or try to fire at the crystal.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty challenging for most people because there's so many objects in front of you. You're trying to find the right shot without getting it deflected or your trajectory changed. But fortunately, you are a spell sniper. You easily able to avoid obstacles, and you take your firebolt and give me a shot. Yeah, easily enough. Your bolt sort of twirls and guides itself through here, seems to reach the edge of the circle, and actually flies inside of it and strikes the gem. Clatters to the ground.
Oh, now it's further away. That's wonderful. Why did your magic work, but mine didn't?
Try again, but not inside the circle.
Mm.
I'm just trying to spawn it. Let's see here, actually.
Or maybe it's
Try to spawn it just on the other side of the circle.
Sure. And appears. All right, give me a sleight of hand check.
Yeah.
Touches one of the chains, and the chains spin around, and it seems like as it does, despite being ethereal, the hand just gets torn apart and vanishes.
Try to conjure it again inside the circle.
Okay.
Does it look like the chains go along the floor?
What's that?
Does it look like any of the chains are on the floor?
Seems like they're everywhere. Some of them are like down ankle height. They're all over the place, and you're trying to maneuver this hand from like 30 feet away.
Like one of those like laser mazes things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea. It's remarkably dangerous, but it won't cost me much of anything besides maybe a lot of pain.
Well, what is it?
You see somebody sort of stretch, and you just hear like a lot of cracking of various bones all throughout her body. It's something. Well, it's. Try not to laugh at me, because I will understand you if you do, and I will hold it against you. As you see Samantha sort of crack her neck 2 more times, and then just a shimmer across her scales as they all seem to shift, and she seems to shift and get noticeably smaller, and smaller, and smaller, and turn into a snake.
Percy t-shirt.
No, I didn't. How long can you turn into a snake? Why aren't we going around as snakes?
Alright, I officially don't like this.
Persephone like crouches down to look at Snake Samantha. You're so beautiful. Look at your scales.
I will still bite you.
Still.
Agile and nubile form of mine.
Yep, it seems
Nubile.
you're definitely smaller than you were before. Definitely longer though. Still going to be a bit of a challenge, but it is probably a bit more possible in this form to do it than your previous one. It seems like you could, but again, there were some changes across the ground. Snakes are having a little trouble going up and around objects without something to fix on, and you could try it. It'll be a challenge.
I don't think this is that great of an idea, Samantha. I think you'll probably still get attacked.
I don't have that kind of magic where I can conjure a little hand to help
We
maneuver you
were
around.
barely in the entrance and they seemed to tear out at us. We don't know if they wouldn't attack you.
When the,
Seemed like they reacted to you touching them.
when the chains went after like the hand, the mage hand, could Persephone recall if other chains like diverted there? Like were there gaps left when they went to attack?
Basically, what it seemed like was when the hand tried to move from 30 feet away, Samantha's trying to maneuver it very carefully. Maybe a part of it just seemed to bump one of the chains. And as it did, it's almost like they're all on like a mechanism. So they all shift. You know, the chains are moving along like a pulley system of sorts. And they sort of change their direction and orientation ever so slightly. Enough to where they seem to almost try to unwrap the hand, not of their own will, but just by sheer luck. Like if someone's pulling a bunch of threads and all those threads seem to knot themselves around someone. Seems like it's not using at its own will, just more so, you know, the nature of being surrounded and entangled in sharp moving chains.
Okay, but were there any like gaps created when it did that? Like were some
Just about the
Yeah.
same that you've seen like right now. They're just in different patterns and shapes. It almost seems like the gaps you would follow once they shift become in different places.
Maybe we can help create a path.
And as I say that, I'm going to throw produce flame over here to trigger one of the chains.
Okay. You summon forth your ball of fire. your dancer rides up and
No,
starts
it's just a
dancing.
produced flame. I ain't
Produced
got
flame.
the slut.
Sure.
I ain't got the slut for this.
A bolt of fire comes flying out and strikes from the chains, and again you see it strike. They shake and then start shifting around their mechanisms, sort of like forming like a new web, almost like you see someone like doing like finger, I guess like string bridge things. You know, what do you call it? Cat's
Yeah,
cradle?
the cat's
Almost like
cradle.
shifting every time it shifts. Yeah, it's still in this tangled net, but new openings appear. They're still challenging to get through. It just seems like every time they're touched, what path you would have changes.
I see what it is you're thinking of, Persephone.
So maybe that way you could get safely around. If I could just divert the chains away from you.
Does it look like there's a space that I could slide into?
Sure. Again, like before, seems like there's always spaces just large enough for maybe someone very nimble to slip through. A little easier for you because your body's a bit more narrow, but still going to be a challenge. It seems like whenever these things are touched and shift, those spaces don't change in size or become more available. They just shift in place. Just looking for the next, it's like, okay, to get over this first thing into like sort of step high over a chain, you touch it, it shifts place. Okay, well now it's at a diagonal. You have to kind of like duck underneath it. Still a challenge, just different places.
So could Persephone, quote unquote, help doing her thing?
Hard to say because these things don't seem to move in any sort of pattern that's recognizable, at least yet. It seems like touching these things causes them to shift in place.
If we making a move while she's in there, it's likely to get her killed.
I cannot help but... Well... What magic do you have, Persephone? You said you can't create a hand like I can, right?
No. I can do little nature things. I can move, mold, and shape earth. Otherwise, there's just my thorn whip and the little flames. The flames will probably be the best option here without utilizing higher forms of magic. And maybe if I cast them higher in the room.
I mean...
And if you stop every now and again...
Frankly, I just came to the realization that... Couldn't you just turn into a fly?
And how would I get the stone out?
Oh, well,
if I were
know.
a fly?
That is part of the problem. We don't know what happens once you actually get into the circle.
Persephone. Oh, that is an issue, though. Yeah.
Because you could turn into a fly and easily make your way through this web and get to the circle, but you wouldn't be able to pick up the stone. And you do not have the magic to get it back. Though I guess you could just throw it. And then turn into a fly again and leave.
If she can turn again into a fly again inside the circle. Because the circle looks like the only real safe area to be in.
Hey God, with my max wisdom, would thorn whipping through the chains be a terrible idea?
You'd have to basically maneuver it through a bunch of chains trying to thread the needle, and this thing's already behind a pillar, kind of out of your sight. It would be a very hard challenge to do so, and I mean, you feel what happens when your thorn whip gets touched by sharp objects like claws or teeth. You think this thing would, if you didn't quite make it in time, these chains would probably shred up your thorn before it actually reaches them.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Everyone takes smell sniper.
Clock ticks away.
Oh, hang on. What's the...
I activate
small
the
is the
thinking
stone?
pause.
How small is the stone? Can I do that?
It looks about small enough that your hands are kind of small, Persephone. but you could probably fit it in your hand.
Would a small burst of wind be able to blow it, like a druid crafty burst of wind?
Yeah, could possibly.
Yeah. Okay. So it's within range. I'm going to try to create a gust of wind
All
to
right, where are you creating
push
it?
it over. Yeah, just recreating a push.
Where are you creating it?
I'm creating it here, trying to push it over here.
Okay. Seems like on the edge of this thing, you create this small gust of wind, and you can hear it. Thing gets pushed close to this pillar.
I think I got it.
Well, then keep casting.
Yes. Oh god. I'm gonna try to cast wind to push it back.
Push it back.
Yeah.
Away from you?
Is that still within 30? Yeah, I can still do that. I just want to get it away from the circle.
Okay, push it over here.
What?
Into the wall.
Awesome. Now we're gonna try to bring it over here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just try to blow it towards me.
All right. Give me a straight up. Give me a straight up dex check.
Dex?
Mm-hmm.
Just straight up dex?
As you're trying to very carefully pull your magic out in these little distances, just trying to puff it from behind. Actually, hold on a second. Ooh.
Come on.
Oh, so you're trying to push it up?
Just not like upwards, just across
Higher
the pole.
low. Higher low.
Oh god.
Luck roll.
Higher low.
Hi.
High. Okay. All right. As fortunately, this thing's just barely able to get your magic behind it as you almost push it out of reach. But it does sort of clatter a little closer. Bit by bit. The stone gets pulled. At one point, it does sort of get close to when the chain sort of bounce a little hard, and all the chains seem to shift in place. But magic, still pulling it forward.
That's right. Come here. Just a little. Just a little more.
As I start to crouch down and use one more puff of druid craft to bring it into my hands.
Stone pulls in your hand.
I get up and I'm bouncing as I'm holding this. I'm clutching this into my hand. I got it. That actually worked. I can't believe it actually worked.
And as you're holding this stone in your hand, Persephone, you realize, looking at it, it's not only you imagine it being like a sunstone or anything, or some sort of magic like talisman, but you do recognize it as being a really large and very valuable agate. And as you pull it out of the room, you can see the light inside here fade. And all around you, you hear the sound of metal clattering as all the tightly wound chains fall slack. As it seems like whatever magic was powering this room has fallen.
Can I glean anything else from this agate by just looking at it, just turning it in my hand? My wonderful knowledge of stones and magic.
I would say, with your position in life as well as your affinity towards earth and stones, you'd say this is a very expensive agate. You know that such things are often used as the focuses for powerful spells, especially those of possibly like a binding nature. But you feel like this thing could probably be worth maybe like 2,000-3,000 gold.
Okay.
But as you pull it out, yeah, the magic seems to fade, the chains go slack, and it seems like the life has left this room.
Okay, so we have the stone. This can be used for very powerful magic. I don't entirely know what he was using it for, but we should hold on to this.
Moving on then.
Yes.
There wasn't anything past this room.
No, just a bunch of movable stone walls, but we don't have the time to try to force them open.
Movable stone wall.
Yeah, the walls, like, they could have been moved, but they would have been pretty heavy and probably dangerous. And that's the wrong way, Quill. Where are you going, Quill? This way, Quill.
Oh, down the hallway.
Good Quill.
Thought you meant in the room with the chains.
Okay. So we spent some time doing that. We should probably double back towards Starhold's area of the place.
We're not going to check this door.
I mean, we most certainly could.
But
But I'm worried about how much time we have. And if there's more things to fight and more things to maneuver around, that would take up some more time.
are we going somewhere safe then?
No, we're going back to his research wing.
Alright.
You guys begin to make your way back towards this bloody altar and back around through the open doors where it seems like you returned. You see the skull still sitting in that pedestal, locked in its mechanism. Stairwell leading up to where it looks like you still see the corpses of those twisted and just tormented souls as you pass another set of double doors that you didn't touch last time.
Samantha, why are you still staying?
I'm stuck like this for a week.
Are you really? Are you really stuck like this for a week?
No,
I can
you
make them move, like,
simpleton.
Oh.
That was kind of harsh.
We enter the atrium of this room. You look around and yeah, you just see the bones of the creatures that you slayed before. And I mean, you didn't notice it last time you were looking around. You've been in the resting with the priest for about an hour now. The bones of the creature still remain, but where are the other ones you killed? In fact, when you got to recall, when you last came here, they weren't here either.
Can
So
we?
did we move that door there?
Yeah, we did.
So either they
Stop.
weren't truly dead, or he collected them before ambushing us.
I
Maybe
think we
it's,
moved it out of the way because we killed them.
maybe
We
it's the
put that
former
door back,
Starhold.
though.
Starhold did say that unless we cut their heads off, they weren't fully dead, and we didn't know that at the time.
Can we do something here? Yeah, this woman just. Can we let her go?
I mean, the woman doesn't want anything to do with us. I mean, we're trying to help her, but if
If we
whenever
let
we
her,
talk to her, she just becomes hysterical. She won't trust us. This is probably the
maybe-
safest place for her.
and maybe she's already infected. A very early stage that's probably reversible, but if we unleash that out onto the town, there's no telling what would happen to her, or anybody else for that matter.
Alright.
You guys are all talking. You do notice that one of your members of the group no longer with you.
Where?
She's a snake, though. It's fine.
So I'm gonna open this door because I just assumed that maybe she went this way.
Yeah, you just walk back inside. You see this strangely colored room, but again, no small spirit to guide you anymore. Just this open piano.
Samantha?
Oh,
Was that you whistling?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was Gregory whistling.
Where does that whistling come from?
Not me.
Okay.
Down by the door.
Which way is her voice like going?
Oh, you're back to normal.
I can just do that whenever I want.
Strangely enough, you can actually talk when you turn into a snake.
Yeah, I can't do
What do you
that when I'm
prefer?
an animal. No, I can't.
I think it has something to do with all of this. She gestures to all the snakes on her.
So Persephone just graft a bunch of monsters onto you.
What?
Monsters? Interesting.
But they're just snakes.
Everything's a monster, isn't that right, Samantha?
Persephone's gonna. So I try to open it.
Grab one of the handles and you can feel like it actually pushes forward.
No.
It's just the nicest
Alright.
bathroom we've ever seen.
Swing the doors
Prepared
open.
for battle.
Take the doors and push them open. You open up to a very well. It looks like it's seen some better days. A long and red carpet sort of rolling up to a set of stairs before you, but still, you're set with the smell of sort of stagnant paper and tanned leather hides as you find yourself opening up to
Oh
what looks
my
like a
God!
library inside. As you do,
We found it!
as like a swarm of bats come flying over your heads and swarm down the hall away. You realize that there's some life in here. But what really catches your eye is the one standing at the head of this stairwell. About maybe 5 feet above the ground, this hunched figure clad in this tight-fitting robe, but even with it on, you can tell he's not human. You can see spiked through the robe itself are several long barbs running up its hunched back and down its twisted body. And as you enter, the doors open loudly, and this tiny, almost like skeletal mouth turns to face you, and at the center, above it, almost taking up the entirety of what the skull should be, is this large emerald eye that seems to look over all of you instantly. And it feels like just the way it looks at you, it's like a knife is digging into your mind, prying away at what lies inside as this creature turns and smiles your way.
Ah, good. You're here now. You're here. Perfect timing. The doctor's just about to wake up.
As that is where we will end tonight's session.
Fucking awesome. I swear.
Hey!
It's like you have like a fucking top 10 fucking dungeon monsters and you're just knocking them out the park with each one. Because the second you said Emerald Eye, I was like, it's one eye? Oh boy, I know who this is, you motherfucker! Oh, yes! I fucking love it! Oh, so, God, why do we have to stop playing? Why can't we just do this forever? Yeah,
It
Mel.
seems like the valiant Vanguard has found yet another strange denizen of this underground laboratory. This one, not a prisoner, but a creature possibly beholden to him. As the minutes tick on, we find our heroes having traveled, well, let's look at that, about 50 minutes following their last fight with
Roll
Dr.
to
Eric
seduce.
Gellner. 10 minutes remain.
Okay.
When will the party find him? Find out on the next episode of Song of Rapture.
Yes, indeed. As that is all we got for you tonight. But, as always, there is more D&D to be had on Lionhead Gaming. We will be returning not next Tuesday as usual, as we will be off the air that evening. So no Kingdoms of the South next Tuesday. And I believe we're slated to come back, though, next Thursday for more
Could be.
Song of Rapture. So you get to flow right into the next verse, I suppose, and see how it pans out for the Valiant Vanguard as they clear rooms filled with horrific traps and fights horrifying, gibbering pools of blood and flesh monsters and, well, things that thirst after knowledge. It is going to be exciting no matter what happens, so be sure to tune in next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Lionhead Gaming, and be sure to also follow on Twitch and on Twitter, and yeah, go ahead and check out our cool little Discord that we got going as well. Feel free to hop on in, discuss the show, discuss other role-playing games, talk about whatever with whomever, and yeah, come on in. The water's fine. Other than that,
A little bloody, but
it's always a little bloody. There's always some blood.
there's a lot of blood.
There's always tons of blood. Sorry about the cameras. I don't know what's up with Roll20, but say I love you. But hopefully it'll be up and running next time. And yeah, that's all I got for you. I hope you all enjoyed hanging out with us tonight. Hope it was a good show. And yeah, hope to see you again next time. We're gonna go ahead and host somebody else playing some D&D. Give them a little bit of love. And yeah, as always, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Work? Am I able to identify scrolls and setting without?
Give me a hey, Lionhead Gaming. Thank you for the host. You can give me an Arcana check or a Religion check.
No, I'm a little shaken. 7.
Yeah, it's just words. Not even words. They are just they are letters that, if you said them, maybe they would make sounds, but you don't know what the spell. You maybe could pull off like casting one of these spells, but you don't know what they do.
Esmeralda,
What?
are you able to read the arcane?
I am proficient in that, yes. I can try.
Could I get your input on this?
These scrolls? Let me take a look. A little bit better. 13.
Man, you also you know that they are like both of them are of a curative nature, healing magics, but you're not sure which is which.
This is not my kind of magic. It looks like it might do some curing, but I don't know much more about that.
All in all, Maror, how many things in there are resonating magically to you?
I relay all the things below in the magical side.
So what's that stone? Any ideas?
No.
We should probably...
Someone grab me one of the druids.
Davian.
Throw a glowing rock. We're gonna hit a caster around here. Somebody get a...
What?
I'm gonna walk through all the NPCs if I have to figure out what spell scrolls do.
Davian, do you know of a place where somebody could help us, somebody with some arcane knowledge could help us to figure out what these trinkets do?
I don't care about the damn trinkets. I want to know what these scrolls...
Well, there was a vial, too. What if it's a vial of raised dead or something?
None of them are spellcasters. Like, they wouldn't... They tell you that they don't know.
But you don't know anyone who might know?
They tell you in terms of spellcasters, probably your best bet would be someone up in Vallaki.
And if, say, we wanted to try somewhere other than lucky.
And then Davey is just like, is there anyone in this damn land that you haven't pissed off?
Well, I mean, we're kind of a